Longqiu Peak, located in the western suburbs of Longhai City, covers a large area. A few years ago, this place was still a desolate land, but later it was bought by a wealthy businessman who wanted to build an ecological resort here. As a result, the wealthy businessman went bankrupt before the ecological resort was built, and then this place was half abandoned again. Until 2 years ago, someone else contracted it and built a racing club. There are 3 major racing holy places in Longhai City: 7 Gorges, Longqiu Peak, and 9 Dragons Plate. Among them, the 7 Gorges is the most dangerous and exciting. It is said that there are deaths every month, but it seems to have magic, not only attracting local drivers in Longhai, but also many drivers from other places. And Longqiu Peak is more like a place to attract money, more commercial and more formal. In addition to racing cars, the racing club also conducts underground gambling. They are the banker and make a lot of money. A little after 7 o'clock, Xiao Chen and the others arrived at Longqiu Peak. Getting down from the Maserati, Xiao Chen looked around and smiled when he came to Longhai City. Before, he had been to Longqiu Peak once. Now, it didn't change much from the past. He had also been to the 7 Canyons. In comparison, he liked the 7 Canyons more because it was the paradise for adventurers, with a life-or-death underground car race. Pa! Xiao Chen took out a cigarette, lit it, and blew a smoke ring. Xiao Meng, that Inhi hasn't come yet? Call him to urge him. We're done with the race, and we have to go back quickly. What if your sister calls me and asks me to pick her up? Okay. Su Xiaoming nodded. She had just taken out her phone and hadn't called out when a voice sounded from behind her. Sister Meng, you're here. Several fashionable boys and girls came over side by side and greeted Su Xiaoming with a smile. Well, did you see Inhi? Su Xiaoming smiled when she saw them. He seems to be here. I just heard someone say that he is in the club hall. A young man said. His eyes fell on Xiao Chen. Sister Meng, is this the expert you mentioned? Yes, he is the racing expert I mentioned. Su Xiaoming nodded and imitated Xiao Chen's tone and said, it's like playing to abuse Xu Kuan. Yang, he is not really your boyfriend, right? A girl with dyed red hair asked with a smirk. What nonsense are you talking about? How can I like him? It's just a casual show. Su Xiaoming rolled her eyes and said unhappily. Hey, how can you talk like that? Xiao Chen was unhappy to hear that. Is my brother so bad? Ha, if you don't like him, I'll take action. The red-haired girl said, her arm on Xiao Chen's neck. Handsome guy, let's meet each other. I'm much gentler than Su Yang. Su Yang? Xiao Chen subconsciously looked at Su Xiaoming. What nickname is this? Okay, stop being naughty. Let's go find Inhi. Let's finish the game quickly. I have to go home. Su Xiaoming said unhappily. Look, Su Yang is jealous, ha ha ha. Let's go, I won't tease you anymore. Let's get down to business first. I hope this handsome guy can really beat Zhu Kuan, otherwise. The red-haired girl laughed. Ahem. Su Xiaoming coughed, and the red-haired girl was stunned and didn't say anything else. Xiao Chen looked at the red-haired girl, then at Su Xiaoming. Is there something fishy going on here? When he came to the hall next door, he saw Inhi and his group. Xiao Chen glanced around. Except for a strange young man, he had seen the others in Zhulongpan last time. This strange young man should be Inhi's cousin. Xiao Meng, you're here. Inhi greeted Su Xiaoming, then looked at Xiao Chen, with a cold look in his eyes. Bastard, you're dead tonight. Stop talking nonsense, let's race. Su Xiaoming was too lazy to say anything more to Inhi, and went straight to the point. Ha, you are Su Xiaoming, right? I heard my cousin mention you many times, and you are really beautiful. Let me introduce myself. My name is Zhu Kuan, and I am Inhi's cousin. I have heard of your name, one of the underground car gods in Longhai City. Without waiting for Zhu Kuan to show a proud smile, Su Xiaoming continued, but you will definitely lose to my boyfriend tonight. Zhu Kuan's smile froze, and he glanced at Xiao Chen. Do you believe in his driving skills so much? It's not that I believe in his driving skills, but he told me that torturing you is like playing. Su Xiaoming was always pulling hatred for Xiao Chen. Sure enough, hearing this, Zhu Kuan's face sank, and he looked at Xiao Chen. Torturing me is like playing? Ha, it seems that no one in Longhai dares to say this. I want to see how you torture me like playing. Don't worry, you will see it later. Xiao Chen said lightly. Really? I hope your driving skills are as good as your mouth. And I hope your bones are as hard as your mouth. Zhu Kuan said coldly. Xiao Chen narrowed his eyes slightly. He could clearly feel the hostility and murderous intent from Zhu Kuan. Inhe, in front of so many people today, don't cheat like last time after losing. Su Xiaoming stared at Inhe and said. Inhe, do what I say. Okay. A few minutes later, everyone came to the club's underground garage. In order to have a fair fight, both sides chose Lexus, but the color was different. The two drove the car out of the underground garage, checked it briefly, and after confirming that there was no problem, they drove into the track. With the participation of Zhu Kuan, the underground car god, the club would definitely not miss the opportunity to make a fortune. They specially talked to him and prepared to bet on this game. Soon, the news that Zhu Kuan was going to race with others spread throughout Longqiu Peak, and many people came to join in the fun. Although Zhu Kuan is not the top underground car god in Longhai City, and he is not even in the top 5, his strength is still very strong. So, one side is Zhu Kuan, who is not weak, and the other side is a stranger. Everyone thinks that the former has a greater chance of winning. Of course, some people think that since Xiao Chen dares to compete with Zhu Kuan, she is either ignorant of life and death or a fierce dragon crossing the river. The club is the banker and offers a 1 to 2 odds, which obviously favors Zhu Kuan more. Brother Chen, I just bet 200,000, which is my pocket money for half a year. If I lose, I will never let you go. Just when Xiao Chen was sitting in the car and getting familiar with the sports car, Su Xiaoming ran over and said. Hearing this, Xiao Chen was a little surprised. This girl actually has more than 30,000 pocket money a month? What? Don't tell me you have no confidence now. I have bet all my money. Su Xiaoming was a little anxious when she saw Xiao Chen didn't say anything. It's okay to lose money, but the key is not to lose this game. Xiaoming, what's the maximum bet? It seems to be 50 million? What's wrong? Oh. Xiao Chen took out his wallet, took out a bank card from it, and handed it to Su Xiaoming. There are 50 million in this card, you bet it for me, I will make some pocket money. Su Xiaoming looked at the bank card handed by Xiao Chen and was dumbfounded. What the hell, is it true? This guy is so rich? Isn't he just a soldier? Even if he is a special forces soldier, his salary is not so high, right? Also, betting 50 million and making some pocket money? If he wins, according to the odds of 1 to 2, that is 100 million, this is still pocket money? Although she thinks that this guy should not be short of money, but he doesn't have to be short of money to this extent, right? Xiaoming, what are you doing? Go and place your bets, it's about to start. Oh. Su Xiaoming came to her senses and lowered her voice. How do you have so much money? You used to be a special forces soldier in the Golden Triangle? Do you sell cocaine part-time? Or are you a spy? Selling state secrets? What nonsense are you talking about? I made all this money. Xiao Chen saw that the girl was talking nonsense, and pretended to be angry. If you keep talking nonsense, I won't help you race. No, I'll place the bet right away. Su Xiaoming shook her head, took the bank card, and turned to the table's second mother. Why are you back again? Didn't you place the bet just now? Asked the red-haired girl. More bets. Su Xiaoming said, threw the bank card on the table, and said coolly, bet 50 million, bet on the blue card to win. As soon as this was said, everyone was shocked. 50 million? Even the red-haired girl and others widened their eyes. Although their families were rich, they had never touched 50 million. He and others were even more stunned. Is this girl crazy? Betting 50 million? Su Xiaoming noticed the expressions of the people around her and felt very happy. She said to the club staff, Hey, what are you doing? Can't you bet 50 million? Yes. The staff responded and nodded hurriedly, but, are you sure there is really 50 million in this card? Of course, hurry up. Although Su Xiaoming didn't know, she felt that Xiao Chen would not lie to her. If he really lied to her and made her embarrassed, she would never talk to this guy again. The card was swiped, and 50 million was transferred to the account. The club found Zhu Kuan again and asked him again if he was sure to beat Xiao Chen. After all, with the 50 million, the amount is not a small amount, and the club has to operate well. It should be no problem. If Zhu Kuan had great confidence before, then after Su Xiaoming bet 50 million, this confidence was less than 50%. After all, no one is a fool to spend their own money to play. Xiaochen dared to bet 50 million, so he must believe that he can win. With this courage, Zhu Kuan felt inferior. He asked himself, he dared not spend 50 million. If you win, we will give you one more point. The person in charge of the club said in a deep voice. Zhu Kuan's eyes lit up and nodded, okay, I will win. Well, then go and prepare. After Zhu Kuan left, the person in charge thought about it and called his men, share the risk, bet on Xiaochen for a part, you can't rely on Zhu Kuan all the time. Yes. Outside, 2 cars have entered the track, roaring. The car window fell, the two looked at each other, Zhu Kuan sneered, and made a provocative gesture of wiping his neck to Xiaochen. Xiaochen looked at Zhu Kuan's action and gently uttered 2 words, stupid. The sexy girl in revealing clothes came to the 2 sports cars, flirted, and after making sure that both were ready, she suddenly dropped the small flag in her hand. Buzz. As the flag fell, the 2 sports cars roared loudly and rushed out of the starting line almost in no particular order. As the 2 sports cars rushed out, the scene cheered and was noisy. Except for Ainhe, Su Xiaoming and others, those who invested money in this car race were also staring at the 2 cars who would win. Since Xiaochen bet 50 million, Su Xiaoming's confidence in him was unprecedented. This guy is not a fool. How could he let himself lose money? He was a little nervous. Could his cousin beat Xiaochen? Just as he was staring at the 2 cars, a voice rang out, Xiaoyin, am I not late? Then, a group of gangsters with tattoos and tigers staggered over. The one walking in the front was Bald Snake. Brother Snake, you are here. He was relieved when he saw Bald Snake. No matter whether Xiaochen won or not, he was finished tonight. Well, where is your cousin? Bald Snake nodded, looked around, and asked. My cousin and that guy have already started. Oh? Which one is your cousin? Bald Snake looked at Longqiu Peak and saw 2 lights on it, entangled in no particular order. It should be the one in front, right? Well, your cousin is quite good at racing, that guy will definitely lose. Yeah. He nodded, glanced at Su Xiaoming not far away, and lowered his voice, Brother Snake, when you cripple that guy's limbs later, can you add another leg? Bald Snake was stunned, then grinned, you rich young men are so cruel, crippling people's limbs is not enough, even the 3rd leg is going to be crippled? Okay, collect money and eliminate disasters for people, how do you do it? We will do it. Yeah, then I thank Brother Snake first. He was overjoyed, and a fierce look flashed in his eyes. Boy, dare to compete with me for women, I will make you unable to use women for the rest of your life. Xiaoyin, which girl do you like? Let Brother Snake see if she looks like a fairy. Bald Snake thought of something and asked. Okay, I'll introduce her to Brother Snake. He nodded and brought Bald Snake to Su Xiaoming. Xiaoming, let me introduce you. This is Brother Snake from the Flying Eagle Gang. Brother Snake protects the people in No. 1 middle school. At this time, Su Xiaoming also recognized Bald Snake and was shocked. This is the real underworld. Although she also formed gangs and did some campus underworld in school, it is still incomparable with the real underworld clubs. So, now seeing Bald Snake, she is still a little nervous. Why is he here? Could it be that he wants to play something shady? This girl? She looks good. Bald Snake looked at Su Xiaoming and smiled, not to mention you, even I am a little moved. Hey, Brother Snake. He's smile was a little unnatural. Why are you so nervous? I'm just kidding. Compared to this kind of young girl, I, Snake, prefer women with big breasts and big butts. They are more interesting to fuck. Bald Snake said with a grin. Yeah, after tonight, I'll treat you to a good time, how about it? He said hurriedly. Okay, you are really sensible. Bald Snake was very satisfied and looked at Su Xiaoming. Girl, have you heard of me? Su Xiaoming saw that the Bald Snake was talking to her. Although she didn't want to pay attention, she still squeezed out a little smile and nodded. Brother Snake, of course I have heard of your name, it's well known. Ah, the little girl is not bad. Su Xiaoming's words made the Bald Snake feel quite happy. In the future, if someone provokes you in the area of No. 1 middle school, just say my name, it will definitely work. Hearing this, Su Xiaoming glanced at He. This guy provoked me, you find someone to chop him? Big Snake, you brought people here tonight, what do you want to do? Suddenly, a tall and thin middle-aged man came over and asked in a deep voice. Hey, Brother Zhao is here, I'll borrow your territory tonight to do some work. The bald snake saw the person coming and said with a smile. Work? Big Snake, I have to remind you that most of the people who come here to play are either rich or noble, so don't mess around. Brother Zhao, I know what I'm doing. Let's go over there and chat for a few words. The bald snake embraced the thin and tall middle-aged man and walked to the side. Su Xiaoming looked at the back of the bald snake and his expression turned cold. Inhe, why did you ask the bald snake to come? No, Brother Snake is free and has nothing to do, so he just came to see the excitement. You'd better not play dirty, otherwise, I won't let you go. Su Xiaoming said coldly. Ha! Inhe chuckled, you will know why he came later. Look, the two cars are pulling away. Suddenly, several exclamations were heard, and everyone looked up at Longqiu Peak, only to see that the two cars that were entangled just now have now pulled away by a car. Can you tell which one is Zhu Kuan? There are surveillance cameras in the club, you can see it. Forget it, anyway, whichever car comes down first will win. Su Xiaoming and Inhe also looked up, squinting their eyes. Who is in front? Xiao Chen, come on. Su Xiaoming looked at the car in front and said silently in her heart buzz. The roar of the sports car kept ringing on Longqiu Peak. Shu Kuan looked at Xiao Chen, who had left him behind by a car body, and his face looked a little ugly. Just now, when he was passing a corner, he was careless and was overtaken. Damn it, do you think you can beat me by overtaking? Wait a minute, I'll let you know how powerful I am. Shu Kuan cursed secretly, stepped on the accelerator hard, and the distance between the two cars began to slowly close. In the sports car in front, Xiao Chen glanced at the rearview mirror and showed a contemptuous smile. When did the underground racing world in Longhai become so weak? This level can be called a car god? It's too watery, right? Buzz. The roar of the two cars mixed together, which was particularly deafening, and the distance was shortened again. There is a bend ahead, I will knock you down. Suddenly, Shu Kuan smiled grimly, accelerated the speed again, and crashed into the rear of the Lexus in front. Bang. The two cars came into close contact. Xiao Chen's hand holding the steering wheel trembled, and then looked at the sharp turn in front, and immediately understood Zhu Kuan's thoughts. Thinking of the murderous intent that spread from him before, Xiao Chen narrowed his eyes. Do you want me to destroy the car and kill people? Then, I will play with you. Bang! Another collision. This time, Xiao Chen did not step on the accelerator again, but stepped on the brake. The Lexus, which was driving at high speed, trembled violently, and even the rear of the car swung. As for the Lexus behind, the reaction was even more violent, and it was even out of control, crashing into the rock wall next to it. Shu Kuan in the car turned pale instantly. Fortunately, although he was a car god, he was still a bit of a gold content. At such a critical moment, he turned the steering wheel hard, stepped on the brake at the same time, and leaned to the other side. Your reaction is not slow, huh? If you dare to play dirty again, you will be finished. Xiao Chen looked at the Lexus that had stopped behind him, sneered, stretched out his right hand from the car window, and then raised his middle finger. Damn it! Shu Kuan slapped the steering wheel hard, stepped on the accelerator again, and chased Xiao Chen, who had disappeared in the bend ahead. But when he rushed out of the bend and looked, he was even more dumbfounded. Where is the person? Could it be that Xiao Chen has passed the next bend? You know, there are thousands of meters between the two bends. So, Xiao Chen has left him behind by thousands of meters? The crowd below also began to boil, because the speed of the car in front suddenly increased. Even if the distance was too far, they could still feel the extreme speed of the car. When passing the bend, the speed did not slow down at all, and it rushed all the way. Almost in the blink of an eye, it left the car behind by two bends. It must be Xiao Chen. Su Xiaoming looked at the car in front and clenched her fists excitedly. She thought of the situation in the last Jiulong plate. Xiao Chen was the same at that time. No matter what the road conditions were, he did not slow down at all, even the most dangerous bends. Inhe's face was ugly. He often played cars with his cousin and knew his cousin's skills. The car in front was definitely not his cousin's. This means that his cousin lost? Xiaoyin, the car in front is your cousin's, right? The bald snake asked beside him, but, maybe. Inhe gritted his teeth and replied. Oh, that guy lost so badly. If he breaks his limbs. No, 5 limbs, wouldn't that be too cruel? Bald Snake muttered as he looked at the car behind him on Longqiu Peak. In the club, the person in charge and several staff members all stared at the monitor in amazement.
Did you cut off the time? Yes. How much? 36 seconds. The person in charge took a breath of cold air. It was indeed true that the fierce dragon could not cross the river. Can he re-rank the underground racing world in Longhai? It should be possible. The record from 2 years ago was just broken by him. Call the young master immediately and report what happened here to him. The person in charge said in a deep voice as he looked at the sports car that had already reached the top. Yes. Who is this guy? After this battle, Zhu Kuan, the car god, has been completely trampled, and a new car god has been born. The person in charge narrowed his eyes and said to himself. More than 10 minutes later, the first sports car came down from Longqiu Peak. The onlookers all cheered and rushed forward to see which car won. Xiaoyin, your cousin is back, let's go and see. The bald snake was also very excited, pulling Inhe forward. Brother Snake, this is not my cousin, it's that bastard. Inhe said with a gloomy face and gritted teeth. What? Your cousin lost? The bald snake widened his eyes. Yeah. Inhe clenched his fists. Brother Snake, next, it's all up to you, you must destroy this guy. Okay, don't worry, I will definitely make this kid regret snatching a woman from you. The bald snake looked ferocious. He was a little unlucky these 2 days, and he was suppressing the evil fire in his heart. Tonight is just the right time to vent. Brothers, listen to my orders later. Yes, Brother Snake. Go, go. After saying this, Bald Snake shook his arms and walked towards the stopped sports car. Buzz. Shu Kuan also drove down from Longqiu Peak in a sports car and stopped next to Xiao Chen. He looked at the group of Bald Snake who were coming towards him, his face full of cruelty. You bastard, you almost caused my car to crash and people to die. I will make you kneel down and beg for mercy later. Thinking of this, he opened the door and got out of the car, with a gloomy face and a ferocious smile. I declare that the blue car wins. The sexy girl in revealing clothes shouted loudly. Cheers and curses rang out around. Some people even shouted at Zhu Kuan, what a shitty car god, he can't even beat a new face. Some people sneered, it's not a fierce dragon that can't cross the river, without 3 or 3, how dare you go to Liangshan? Listening to the curses around him, Zhu Kuan's murderous intent became stronger. It was all because of this guy. He must die tonight. Yes, after Bald Snake crippled this guy in public, he would find someone to secretly kill this guy, so that even if he was discovered later, others would think it was Bald Snake who did it. Thinking of this, Zhu Kuan straightened up and glanced around. Tonight, I lost. I admit that my driving skills are not as good as his. Fuck, you are still a car god like this? Fuck, you made me lose more than 100,000, damn bastard. Idiot, you can't even beat a stranger, insulting the word car god. When the people around saw Zhu Kuan admit defeat in person, they cursed even more fiercely. What are you cursing? What's wrong? The Bald Snake came over with the gangsters, glanced around, and then patted Zhu Kuan on the shoulder. It's okay, brother will help you vent your anger. The people around were stunned when they saw the aggressive Bald Snake and others, and then the cursing became more intense. What's the matter, you can't play with cars, but you still plan to play tough? Some people also recognized the Bald Snake and secretly pulled his accomplices, signaling them not to curse anymore. After all, the Flying Eagle gang is still notorious in Longhai City. In addition to the 3 major gangs, there are a few second-rate forces that dominate. Inhe, what do you want to do? Su Xiaomeng stared at Inhe and asked coldly. Nothing, it seems that Brother Snake is a little unhappy with your boyfriend? Ha, this is none of my business. Inhe smiled grimly and walked towards the 2 sports cars. Damn it. Su Xiaomeng cursed secretly. Although she knew Xiao Chen was very strong, Bald Snake was a real gangster, and he brought so many people with him. Something might happen tonight. Thinking of this, Su Xiaomeng also walked forward quickly, wanting to see if there was any way to solve the dilemma in front of her. Boy, don't hide in the car, get out. Because the light was a little dim, Bald Snake didn't look inside carefully. He took the iron rod handed by his men and smashed it on the hood of the car. Brother Snake, this is my boyfriend. Is there any misunderstanding? Su Xiaomeng hurried forward and forced a smile. Little sister, there is no misunderstanding. I came here for this guy tonight. The Bald Snake grinned at Su Xiaomeng. 3-legged toads are hard to find, but 2-legged men are hard to find? Don't I know you girls? You change boyfriends every few days. Don't get involved in this matter. Brother Snake. Xiaoyin, why don't you pull this little girl aside?
None of your brothers are kind to women, otherwise, if she is hurt, it will be terrible. The bald snake shouted at Inhe.
Okay.
Inhe nodded and stepped forward. Xiao Meng, don't get involved.
This is a conflict between Brother Snake and him. It has nothing to do with you. Bullshit, Inhe, didn't you just find the underworld because you can't afford to lose?
I really didn't expect that the great car god couldn't afford to lose and actually did such a thing.
How shameless. Su Xiaomeng cursed loudly. That's right. This Shu Kuan is really rubbish.
Many people around couldn't stand it and spoke up, but more people were silent. After all, it's better not to provoke the Flying Eagle gang if you can. Some people sympathized, some people gloated, especially those who lost money. They sneered, winning the car, but losing their lives, what's the use? He deserved it for making us lose money.
Damn, why are you still hiding in there? Do you think you can be fine if you hide in there? Go, drag this guy out for me.
Bald Snake stood in front of the car, knocking on the front hood with an iron rod in his hand, making a clicking sound snap. Before the gangsters surrounded him, they saw the Lexus's high beams turned on, which were extremely dazzling. Bald Snake subconsciously covered his eyes, and then became furious.
This guy dared to flash his eyes with a fucking light? He was looking for death. Fuck, you dare to flash me with your lights.
Bald Snake was furious, rushed up and opened the car door. Get the hell out of here. Before he could finish, he suddenly saw the person sitting in the driver's seat clearly. His voice stopped abruptly, and then his body trembled. A chill rose from the soles of his feet. Damn it, why is it him?
Brother Snake, I haven't seen you for just one day, you are more powerful? What, do you want to destroy me?
Xiao Chen got out of the car, looked at the stunned Bald Snake, raised his hand, patted his face, and his expression was a little playful pop. The crisp sound of slapping the face made the scene quiet. Although Xiao Chen's 2 slaps were not strong, they were very impactful. If someone else slapped like this, Bald Snake would have been furious long ago. This is no different from a slap in the face, and it is even more insulting. But facing Xiao Chen, he didn't dare. Although he was still thinking about how to take revenge last night, he no longer had the thought of revenge after Sun Fei told him about Xiao Chen's terror. Especially since Huang Xing had issued a death order, anyone who dared to provoke Xiao Chen again would be punished by 3 knives and 6 holes according to the gang rules.
No, Minister Xiao, this is all a misunderstanding, I didn't know it was you.
The Bald Snake was about to cry, and he squeezed out an ugly smile and shook his head vigorously at the same time. He felt upset. Damn, this guy must have deliberately sat in the car and waited for him.
Misunderstanding? You are going to destroy me, and you still dare to say it is a misunderstanding?
Minister Xiao, if I had known it was you, I would not dare to come even if I had 10 guts. The Bald Snake had a bitter face.
Damn, didn't they say that high school students were jealous? Didn't they say that they had no background?
This guy is much more terrifying than the rich young man with a background.
The gangsters who were originally full of ferocious faces shuddered at this time. I sent this the evil star last night?
Several of them were among the 200 knife men last night. They had witnessed Xiao Chen's terror, so when they saw him again, they all felt cold all over.
He could kill the 200 knife men and even put a knife on Xingya's neck. What good would it do tonight with just a few of them?
Xiao Chen swept his cold eyes over. Touching his cold eyes, the gangsters subconsciously took a step back, and even the hands holding the guys were shaking. The people watching the excitement around were all dumbfounded.
What was going on? What about the agreed to kill this guy?
Especially Zhu Kuan and Yin He, who were stunned by the scene in front of them.
What was going on? Know each other? Brother Snake, tell me, what happened tonight?
Xiao Chen swept his eyes over Zhu Kuan and Yin He, and then asked the Bald Snake, Minister Xiao, you can just call me Little Snake. The Bald Snake smiled, even a little servile. He had never done this in front of Huang Xing.
Stop talking nonsense and speak quickly.
If I am satisfied with your answer, I will pretend that what happened tonight did not happen, but if I am not satisfied, you know. Xiao Chen's voice was cold and murderous. Sensing the cold murderous aura, the Bald Snake shuddered and said hurriedly, Zhu Kuan and Yin He asked me to destroy you.
Hearing this, Zhu Kuan and Yin He's faces changed drastically. Big Snake, you. Zhu Kuan stared at the Bald Snake, a little angry. Shut up, you killed me. The Bald Snake was even more angry. If it weren't for this grandson asking him to come, would he have met Xiao Chen? Now, he wanted to beat this grandson up.
Next to him, Su Xiaoming also reacted. At this time she looked at Xiao Chen and was shocked.
Why was the bald snake so afraid of him? Heh, I found out that I have a conflict with people whose names contain Cohen or something? First it was Rin Cohen, and now there's another Zhu Cohen. Xiao Chen looked at Zhu Cohen coldly. Do you want to destroy me?
Yes, I want to destroy you, so what? You dare to snatch my cousin's girlfriend, you're looking for death. At this point, Zhu Cohen also saw that the young man in front of him should not be simple, otherwise the bald snake would not be so scared. However, if he begs for mercy or settles the matter now, how can he still have the face to survive? So, even if he has to hold on tonight, he has to hold on to the end. What's more, he doesn't think Xiao Chen dares to do anything to him. Xiao Chen looked at Zhu Cohen, who was stiff-necked, and was too lazy to talk to him anymore. He turned around and asked, Brother Snake, how did they ask you to cripple me? They started by saying, let me kill you. But then I said, it's better to be merciful when you're out there, and then they said they'd cripple your limbs. No, Minister Xiao, I didn't know it was you at the time, otherwise I wouldn't have agreed to them.
Stop talking nonsense and get to the point. Xiao Chen's eyes became colder. He wanted to kill himself because of jealousy? His heart was too vicious. Yes, cripple your limbs.
But Yi just said, let me cripple your 5 limbs, that is.
The third leg.
The bald snake said cautiously. After hearing this, Xiao Chen looked at Yi again. The latter trembled and had a bad feeling in his heart.
Brother Snake, how about you do me a favor? As long as you help, you won't have anything to do tonight.
Suddenly, Xiao Chen smiled gently and patted the bald snake on the shoulder. Minister Xiao, you said, as long as I can do it, then I will do it.
The bald snake was overjoyed and said loudly.
Xiao Chen nodded, pointed at Zhu Cohen and Yi, and said lightly, I am also a kind person.
I will cripple 1 arm and 1 leg for each person. You dare? Zhu Cohen's face changed drastically, and then shouted, Do you know who I am?
You talk too much nonsense. He crippled 2 arms and 2 legs. Xiao Chen frowned. If you talk nonsense again, I will add a 3rd leg. Listening to Xiao Chen's calm and domineering words, many people around took a breath of cold air. They thought that this kid would suffer a great loss, but who would have thought that he was a real ruthless character? He would cripple people's hands and legs with just 1 word? Some people were secretly guessing who this guy was? Even the bald snake of the Flying Eagle gang was scared of him. The bald snake looked embarrassed.
Zhu Cohen's background was not simple.
If he really crippled him, there would probably be trouble, especially now as a special period for the Flying Eagle gang.
Why don't you do it? Don't you understand what I said? Or do you want me to do it myself?
Xiao Chen saw the bald snake standing there and asked coldly. Hearing this, the bald snake trembled. He understood what Xiao Chen meant. Once he was asked to do it, his group would not be able to escape.
Forget it, let's get through this hurdle first. If the Zhu family and the Yin family retaliate, the worst that can happen is to go out and hide for a while.
If he offended Xiao Chen, he would probably be abolished tonight. He knew which one would have a worse fate.
No, Minister Xiao, how dare I bother you to do it yourself? Leave it to us.
After weighing the pros and cons, the bald snake made a decision. Brothers, do as Minister Xiao said.
Yes. The gangsters showed their weapons and surrounded Zhu Cohen and Yi. Big Snake, are you fucking crazy? You actually helped him to deal with me? Zhu Cohen's face changed drastically.
He never thought that the people he called would help the other party to deal with him.
Zhu Cohen, I can only say that you provoked someone you shouldn't have provoked.
The bald snake said coldly. If you dare to touch me and my cousin, the Zhu family and the Yin family will not let you go.
Ha, that's a matter for the future, do it. The bald snake said, waving his hand violently. The gangsters received the order, smiled grimly, and rushed towards Zhu Cohen and Yi with their weapons. Bang bang bang. The sound of the iron rod hitting the body was heard, followed by screams. Crack. Zhu Cohen's arm was broken first, and then his legs were broken. Ah. Don't.
Yi screamed and began to beg for mercy, but the gangsters did not slow down at all, and the iron rod hit his arm.
Xiao Chen watched coldly, without any mercy. Compared with their desire to cripple his hands and feet, he was already very merciful, wasn't he?
Several of Yi's companions wanted to go up and stop them, but seeing the weapons in the gangsters' hands, they dared not move and could only watch. Su Xiaoming and others also stood by, but they were more shocked.
Especially Su Xiaoming, looking at Xiao Chun. Who is he? With just one sentence, he can make the bald snake of the Flying Eagle gang do things for him, even at the cost of offending the Zhu family and the Yin family.
The shrill screams also silenced the people around. Reality is often so dramatic. Originally, they all thought that it was Xiao Chun who was going to be crippled.
Now, it has become Zhu Kuan and Yin He. Big snake, that's enough, don't kill anyone.
The tall and thin man from before appeared, and he followed the club leader. No one will die, the brothers are skilled at this job. After the bald snake finished speaking, he looked at Xiao Chen. He didn't dare to let his men stop unless the latter called for a stop.
My friend, I am the person in charge here, my name is Chen Xiang.
The person in charge came to Xiao Chen and smiled.
Yeah. Xiao Chen nodded lightly, not very interested. Although the Zhu family and the Yin family are not first-class families in Longhai, they are also wealthy families. The person in charge looked at Zhu Kuan and Yin He who were still being beaten, and reminded Xiao Chun. Wealthy families? Tonight, the wealthy families will be destroyed. Xiao Chen finished speaking and looked at the bald snake. Are they all destroyed?
This kid has been hiding, and he is still short of one hand.
If you don't hide, you will lose one hand and one foot.
If you hide, you will lose all 4 limbs.
Xiao Chen said coldly.
Yin He, who was lying on the ground, shuddered when he heard this.
He dared not hide anymore.
He gritted his teeth and stretched out his arm.
With a click, it broke.
Minister Xiao, they are all disabled as you requested. The bald snake looked at Yin He and Zhu Kuan and said to Xiao Chen. Xiao Chen nodded, walked slowly to Zhu Kuan and Yin He, and looked down at them. Today, I am merciful and let you go.
Next time, I will do what you said and disable your 5 limbs.
Zhu Kuan and Yin He looked at Xiao Chen with bruises and fear, and dared not even say a polite word. Get lost. After hearing Xiao Chen's words, several young men dared to step forward and help Yin He and Zhu Kuan up.
Xiao Chen ignored them and looked at the person in charge. Where is the money I won? Transfer it immediately.
Okay.
Xiao Chen nodded.
He was not afraid of any tricks played by this club. Soon, 100 million was deposited into the account, and the mobile phone notification sounded.
Xiao Chen looked at the balance in the account and smiled with satisfaction.
Brother Snake, go back and tell Master Huang that I am very satisfied with your performance tonight. Xiao Chen looked at the bald snake.
He knew that this was Huang Xing's attitude and he would not be his enemy again.
Otherwise, the bald snake would not react like this.
Yes, I will tell Brother Xing.
The bald snake nodded hurriedly.
Brother Chen, do you know Brother Snake?
Su Xiaoming looked at the two of them, rolled her eyes, and came up. This girl. No, this beauty, I didn't recognize you just now.
From now on, you can just call me Little Snake.
When the bald snake saw Su Xiaoming and thought about their relationship, his eyelids twitched.
Little Snake? Su Xiaoming was speechless and glanced at Xiao Chun.
What on earth did this guy do to make the bald snake so scared?
However, she was overjoyed immediately. The area of Vino. One middle school was the territory of the bald snake. Wouldn't she be able to walk sideways in the future? Do you know the bald snake?
Xiao Chen looked at Su Xiaoming and felt a little strange.
Yeah, I know him. Brother Snake is definitely the big brother in our know. One middle school. Ahem, beautiful lady, don't say that.
I am not a big brother in front of Minister Xiao.
I take back what I said just now. What did you say? Xiao Chen raised his eyebrows. Did this guy flirt with Xiaoming?
Bald Snake noticed Xiao Chen's gaze and shuddered with fear. I didn't say anything, I just told her that I would protect her in the future.
Protect her? Xiao Chen looked a little playful.
Of course. No, she is your girlfriend, of course I don't need to protect her.
Okay, if you are really doing well, then you can protect her.
I don't want her to get hurt in school. Xiao Chen said in a deep voice.
Yes, yes. If anyone dares to hurt her, I will kill their entire family, understand?
Xiao Chen said this to the bald snake, so that they would not have any thoughts in the future and use Su Xiaoming to threaten themselves.
Yes, yes. The bald snake nodded hurriedly as if he had fallen into an ice cellar. Okay, take your people and go. Then goodbye, Minister Xiao. After the bald snake finished speaking, he took out a business card and handed it to Su Xiaoming. If you have any questions at school, feel free to call me. Su Xiaoming took it and nodded excitedly. Thank you, Brother Snake. You're welcome, then we'll leave first.
Okay. After the bald snake led his people away, Su Xiaoming couldn't hide her excitement, grabbed Xiao Chen's arm and shook it constantly.
Brother Chen, will he really protect me in the future? Is it necessary to be so excited?
Okay, the car has been raced, and the money has been earned.
We should go to the company. Your sister is about to get off work.
Yeah, okay.
Su Xiaoming nodded happily. She really made a lot of money today. Mr. Xiao, right? Please stay.
Suddenly, the person in charge came up quickly.
Anything else?
Xiao Chen looked at him and asked in confusion.
It's like this. I think Mr.
Zhao's driving skills are very good.
I wonder if Mr. Xiao is interested. No interest.
Xiao Chen shook his head before the other party finished speaking. The person in charge opened his mouth and cursed in his heart. Damn it, I didn't even say what it was, and you refused it so easily.
I have something else to do, so I'm leaving first.
Xiao Chen knew what the person in charge was up to, and he was too lazy to deal with it. He pulled Su Xiaoming and turned to walk towards the Maserati.
Brother Chen, leave this guy?
The thin middle-aged man behind him asked in a low voice.
No, check it out first.
The person who can make the bald snake so afraid or even scared is definitely not an ordinary person. The person in charge shook his head slowly.
Yeah. Young master didn't call again? No.
Okay, check it out first, and then report to the young master.
Okay.
Xiao Chen came to the parking lot, and all the red-haired girls surrounded him, excited and chattering.
Damn, handsome guy, you are so awesome tonight.
The red-haired girl shouted excitedly, almost jumping on Xiao Chen. He is one of the 7 young masters in the know.
One middle school in the city, an absolute romantic figure.
Usually, he always steps on others. When has he ever been abused? Tonight, he found the big brother Bald Snake, but then he was shocked. Bald Snake acted like a little brother in front of Xiao Chen. Not only that, the development of the matter has a magical turn. It was not Xiao Chen who was abandoned, but he and his cousin. How could these high school students not admire him when the 7 young masters were abandoned in such a short time? When Xiao Chen heard the red-haired girl's words, the corners of his mouth twitched a few times.
Stepping on 2 little scums is awesome?
If it were spread out that he stepped on high school students, it would probably make people laugh. Tonight, if Shu Kuan and he hadn't wanted to destroy him and his heirloom, he wouldn't bother to care now, just treat it as a lesson for them.
Xiaoming, let's go.
Xiao Chen couldn't stand their gazes, so he opened the car door and got into the driver's seat. Okay. Su Xiaoming nodded, whispered a few words to the red-haired girls, and then got in the car.
What did you whisper to them? Nothing, school matters.
He was destroyed and can't go to school in a short time.
I guess the structure of no.
One middle school will change.
I have to make arrangements early.
Su Xiaoming said excitedly.
Xiao Chen didn't know whether to laugh or cry. It's just a broken high school? And the structure? Oh my. Hey, Brother Chen, you're awesome.
Last time you said you were going to destroy Inhe, I thought you were bragging, but I didn't expect it to be true. Xiao Chen felt that he couldn't respond to this. There's nothing to brag about destroying a high school student.
Shandong Unicom users seem unable to access the website.
I have been updating on my phone recently, which is too troublesome.
Thank you, Mr.
Yun, for the reward, and congratulations on becoming the first leader.
There will be more updates tomorrow. Maserati left Longqiu Peak and headed for the company. On the way, Su Xiaoming was chattering about something.
She didn't think he's being abandoned was cruel, but she thought he deserved it. This made Xiao Chen smile with ease. He was originally thinking about how to explain to Su Xiaoming, but now it seems that there is no need. With Brother Snake protecting me, who in that area of the school dares to mess with me? Even the 7 young masters will be quite afraid. Su Xiaoming muttered, and took out her mobile phone from time to time to send a WeChat or something. Xiaoming, is that guy Bald Snake really that awesome in that area?
Xiao Chen couldn't help asking.
In his opinion, Bald Snake was just a big gangster of the Flying Eagle gang, not even a big boss. Of course, there are many small gangs around the school, but they dare not compete with the Flying Eagle gang.
And Bald Snake is responsible for that area.
Usually, other gang leaders have to be polite to him.
Su Xiaoming explained. Through Su Xiaoming's explanation, Xiao Chen had a new understanding.
Originally, in his opinion, the Flying Eagle gang was not at all mainstream.
But this was only in his opinion.
In fact, the Flying Eagle gang still had influence in the underground world of Longhai City. Especially in the two southeastern districts, it was even more important. Many small gangs acted according to the Flying Eagle gang's eyes.
Hey, Brother Chen, why is Bald Snake so afraid of you?
Su Xiaoming thought of something and asked, Nothing, I know his eldest brother, so he is more afraid of me.
His eldest brother? Isn't he the head of the Falcon Hall, Wang Xing, Master Xing? Su Xiaoming shouted in surprise. Xiao Chen glanced at Su Xiaoming. This girl knows a lot. If she knew that Master Xing, whom she was talking about, was shivering with a knife on his neck last night, I wonder what her expression would be? Yeah, it's Wang Xing. I just realized that you are so awesome. You actually know a big shot in the underworld. Xiao Chen glanced at Su Xiaoming again. Why does this girl's eyes light up when she mentions the underworld? Normally, girls would be afraid when they hear about the underworld. This is a bit abnormal. Brother Chen, can you introduce Wang Xing to me someday? I haven't met a real big shot yet.
Su Xiaoming asked, pulling Xiao Chen's arm. Hey, don't pull my arm, we're driving.
Brother Chen, can you introduce him to me? What's so good about him? He's just a scumbag. If you really want to meet an awesome person, I'll introduce you to one. How awesome.
If you stamp your feet, you can make Longhai tremble.
Isn't that awesome? Really? Who is it? Su Xiaoming's eyes lit up and she was so excited. Me. Su Xiaoming rolled her eyes wildly. Just stop it. If you don't believe it, forget it.
Xiao Chen shrugged and said nothing more. Su Xiaoming didn't take Xiao Chen's words seriously, but was imagining what it would be like to go back to school tomorrow.
She could imagine that the name of Su Ernyang would shock the whole school tomorrow.
Xiao Chen looked at Su Xiaoming with excitement on her face, and thought of something, and asked with a strange expression, Why do they call you Su Ernyang?
This is my nickname. Don't you think the name Su Ernyang is very fierce? There is Sun Ernyang in Water Margin, and there is Su Ernyang in No. One middle school in the city.
Su Xiaoming, this name is too weak, and there is no deterrent power. If it were normal, Su Xiaoming would definitely not answer, but now she is in a good mood, and Xiao Chen has helped her so much, so she is happy to answer.
Sun Ernyang? Su Ernyang? Xiao Chen's mouth twitched a few times. He didn't know if it was fierce or not, but it sounded quite stupid.
Of course, he didn't dare to say this, otherwise this girl would get angry with him again. At the same time, he also secretly guessed that this girl was definitely not a good person in school.
Could it be that she had developed some campus gangs? Or was she a big sister? However, he didn't care too much. Youth is about making a fuss.
As long as she is not bad and doesn't touch some bottom lines, she can do whatever she wants.
Yes, how about this name? Good, very good, tough, domineering, awesome.
At first glance, she is a big sister, comparable to the 13th sister of Bull Street.
Xiao Chen gave a thumbs up. The 13th sister is my idol. Xiao Chen glanced at Su Xiaoming's chest, and his mouth twitched again. Yes, it's as flat as your idol's chest.
After arriving at the company and picking up Su Qing, the three decided to find a place to have supper before returning to the villa.
Where did you go to play today?
Su Qing asked casually while eating supper. Nothing, I went to practice taekwondo in the morning, and then went shopping.
Oh, how is taekwondo going? I won't go there anymore. Why? Don't you like taekwondo? Su Xiaoming took a bite of food, hesitated, and didn't tell Xiao Chen about beating up Park Siren.
Nothing, I just think I've practiced enough, and Brother Chen promised me that he would teach me more powerful kung fu.
Oh, Xiao Chen, thank you for your trouble. Su Qing nodded and smiled at Xiao Chen. Nothing, Xiaoming has a good foundation, and she will learn anything quickly. Xiao Chen smiled and shook his head, thinking about what to teach this little girl.
Hai Shuang nightclub, an important base of Falcon Hall.
Brother Snake.
In the corridor on the third floor, there were 7 or 8 burly hooligans standing, and when they saw Bald Snake, they greeted him.
Is Brother Xing here? Bald Snake asked. Yes. The bald snake nodded and knocked on the office door. Come in. Huang Xing's voice came from inside. Brother Xing, I saw Xiao Chen again tonight. The bald snake pushed the door open and went in, and saw Huang Xing sitting on the sofa smoking a cigar. Hearing the words of the bald snake, Huang Xing's hand holding the cigar trembled, and then his face darkened. Big snake, didn't I give an order not to be his enemy again? Brother Xing, how dare I be his enemy? The thing is this. The bald snake smiled bitterly and told the story from beginning to end. After listening, Huang Xing frowned. The Zhu Kuan and Yin He you mentioned are from the Zhu family and the Yin family?
Well, but in that situation, I could only listen to Xiao Chen, otherwise
I would either be lying in the hospital or in the morgue now. The bald snake now trembled in his heart when he thought of the murderous aura permeating Xiao Chen.
Huang Xing pondered for a long time and pointed to the sofa. Sit down, you did the right thing tonight compared with the Zhu family and the Yin family. Xiao Chen should not be offended. Hearing Huang Xing's words, Bald Snake breathed a sigh of relief and sat next to him. Brother Xing, what about the Zhu family and the Yin family? I have some friendship with the third son of the Zhu family. I will call him and talk to him later. If they have any hatred, they can go to Xiao Chen. Huang Xing said, throwing a cigar to Bald Snake. Also, you should keep a low profile these 2 days. After all, there are too many people watching the Flying Eagle gang now.
Yes, Brother Xing. By the way, is that girl really Xiao Chen's girlfriend? Huang Xing thought of something and asked. That should be it.
Shu Kuan came to me because Xiao Chen stole the girl his cousin liked.
What's the origin of that girl?
I don't know, but her words and deeds don't seem like a child from an ordinary family.
Huang Xing nodded and was silent for a few seconds. Big Snake, you just said that you left a business card for that girl? Yes. Okay, if that girl really wants to find you, you must help, understand? Brother Xing, what you mean is. That's right.
If we can improve or make friends with Xiao Chen through this girl, it will be beneficial to us.
Now, our situation is a bit bad. Ah Fei is injured, and we lack a master who can turn the tide.
Huang Xing took a deep puff of cigar and said slowly.
I know. Bald Snake nodded. Brother Xing thinks a lot.
No, we don't have that much time now. So, you ask your subordinates to check the identity of the girl and try to contact her.
We can't just wait. I have a hunch that the Flying Eagle gang is about to be in trouble. Who lives, who dies, and who takes the position, everything depends on people.
Hearing this, the Bald Snake was shocked.
Is the internal strife of the Flying Eagle gang going to break out?
Maybe, at the critical moment, it will be Xiao Chen who saves our lives. Huang Xing vomited a circle of eyes, squinted his eyes, and said slowly in the orthopedic ward of Boai Hospital. Shu Kuan and Yin He were lying on the hospital bed on the left and right, screaming in pain. They were really brothers in distress.
Dad, you have to avenge me.
Yin He looked at the man standing by the bed, tears came down, and his face was full of grievances.
Shut up, you haven't embarrassed enough people. Intoxication said angrily with a livid face. Why are you losing your temper with the child? If you have the guts, go and kill that Bald Snake and Xiao Chen.
A middle-aged woman wiped her tears and yelled at Intoxication.
She is Yin He's mother and Zhu Kuan's second aunt. She has a son on the left and a nephew on the right. She is heartbroken and angry. What do you know?
Bald Snake is a member of the Flying Eagle gang.
Can he be killed just by saying so? Intoxication said unhappily. So what? Did Xiao He and Xiao Kuan get hurt in vain?
Besides, Bald Snake is just a leader of the Flying Eagle gang. The Shu family and the Yin family joined forces to force the Flying Eagle gang to hand him over. How dare they not hand him over?
Women are really short-sighted. I can't communicate with you. I don't want to communicate with you either. I just want to avenge our son and nephew. Let's not talk about the Flying Eagle gang first.
Let's get someone to capture Xiao Chen, break his limbs, and sink him into the Yellow River, the middle-aged woman shouted.
Okay, don't get involved. Intoxication glared at his wife, then looked at Zhu Kuan. When will your father come?
He's on the way, uncle. Today's incident is my fault.
Zhu Kuan was more seriously injured than Yin He, and all his limbs were broken. Don't blame yourself. You also want to help Xiao He. Don't worry, this matter is not over yet. After I discuss it with your father, I will make them pay 10 times the price. Yes. Don't sit here, go and handle the transfer procedures and transfer them to the orthopedic hospital. Indulging looked at his wife again and said in a deep voice, why do you want to transfer? This Boai hospital is from the Putian system. I don't trust their medical skills. Indulging said, and turned to walk out. Ah? Putian system? Yin's mother's face also changed. Then you have to transfer to another hospital as soon as possible, don't leave any sequelae. These days, the Weizishi incident has been flooding the screen. Putian Hospital has also surfaced, and all kinds of shady dealings are shocking.
I am not a regional black, there are black-hearted businessmen everywhere, but Putian Hospital is indeed unscrupulous.
Brother Ding, you seem to be on duty today, right? How about I help you on duty? At the entrance of the company, a young man in a brand new security uniform looked at Dingley with a flattering smile on his face. Don't come here, don't think I don't know what you are up to. Go to the gym and exercise quickly, don't be lazy. Dingley looked at the young man and said with a curled mouth.
Since a new batch of security guards were recruited, Dingley, who used to be bullied in the security department, is now called Brother Ding and Brother Ding by the newcomers. He looks like the second in command of the security department. Except for Xiao Chen, he is the only one. Even Gao Ping, the supervisor, is not as familiar as him because he is not often in the company. This makes many old security guards envious, just because Dingley is close to Minister Xiao. Look, he is awesome now, right? In the past, anyone could shout Dingzi, go buy me a pack of cigarettes, who dares to shout it now? Brother Ding, just let me hide? Come, have a cigarette, I just bought a soft Zhonghua. The young security guard took out a cigarette with a bitter face. Hey, you still smoke soft Zhonghua? It's quite luxurious. Dingley took it, lit it, and took a puff. Hey, my dad bought it. He said that when you come to a new company, you have to put 2 boxes of good cigarettes in your pocket to show respect to the leader. I'm not the leader. No, Brother Ding is our leader. Okay, stop flattering. Do you need me to call Brother Chen and tell him you're here? No, I'll go by myself, I'll go right away. The young security guard put away the cigarette and left with a bitter face. Dingley looked at his back, grinning and muttering, Brother Chen is doing this for your good, and you all complain about being tired. I really don't understand Brother Chen's painstaking efforts. Just after he finished muttering, his mobile phone rang in his pocket. He took it out and answered the call. Hello, Brother Chen, do you have any instructions? Dingzi, from today on, you also come to the gym to train. Don't you want to become stronger? I'll give you a chance. Xiao Chen's voice came from the receiver. Ah? Dingley was stunned. What? I'll give you 1 minute, come right away. If you're late, you'll have to do 300 push-ups. Xiao Chen said, and hung up the phone. Dingley was stunned. In the past 2 days, he saw how Xiao Chen trained these newcomers. In one word, miserable. Even those newcomers with very good physical fitness were trained to scream for their mother. Seeing that scene, he felt a chill. After being stunned for a few seconds, he suddenly woke up and ran to the gym. If he was late, 300 push-ups would make him tired. Brother Ding, why are you in such a hurry? The young security guard who offered cigarettes just now was walking slowly. Seeing Dingley passing by like a gust of wind, he couldn't help asking. Gym. Exercise. Dingley rushed into the elevator without stopping. In the gym, Xiao Chen sat on a chair, holding a cigarette, and leisurely watched the security guards doing various machine exercises. Number 1, add another code, hurry up. Number 2, lean back, waist strength. Number 3. During these 2 days, Xiao Chen didn't call their names, that was too troublesome, just call them by code names. At the beginning, these security guards were not used to it, but after several punishments, they had engraved this code name into their bones. Even, it was better than hearing their own names. Bang! The door of the gym was pushed open, and Dingley rushed in panting. Chen, Brother Chen, am I not late? Xiao Chen glanced at his watch, 7 seconds late, go, 50 push-ups. Ah? Want to get stronger? If you want to get stronger, then do some push-ups first. Xiao Chen was no longer the same as before, his tone was cold and hard, leaving no room for negotiation. Yes, Brother Chen. Dingley nodded, then lay on the ground honestly, gritted his teeth and started doing push-ups. Xiao Chen's eyes flashed with relief, and then his eyes swept across the audience. No. 11, the action is wrong, come down, 50 push-ups. Yes, Brother Chen. No.
1 and no. 2, come down and fight. Yes. No. 1 and no.
2 released the equipment, stood still, and then looked at each other, and almost attacked at the same time.
Bang bang bang. The 2 fought, while the others did not look at them. They were all busy with their own exercises. Bang bang bang.
The sound of fists hitting the flesh kept ringing, but Xiao Chen was not very satisfied, and slowly frowned.
You didn't eat enough today? A little harder, see blood. Hearing Xiao Chen's cold voice, no. 1 and no.
2 attacked each other with greater force, as if they had some deep hatred for each other, and each move went straight to the vital point.
Bang. No. 1 showed a flaw and was knocked away by no.
2's punch, and spit out a mouthful of blood.
Eat it.
Xiao Chen stood up, came to no.
1 took out a pill and handed it to him. No. 1 swallowed it without any hesitation.
This was not the first time he took this kind of pill. After being injured, he took it and it worked wonders.
He would soon feel no pain. No.
1, you should have raised your right leg a little higher just now since you have attacked. Don't worry too much, and have an unstoppable momentum. No matter whether this move succeeds or fails, don't think about it first.
If you hesitate for a moment, the enemy will catch the flaw, understand?
Xiao Chen said in a deep voice.
Yes, Brother Chen. Okay, continue training, no. 3 and no. 4, you fight. Yes, Brother Chen.
A few minutes later, Dingli got up from the ground, panting, Brother Chen, it's done.
Number 7, you cooperate with Ding Zi to do the barbell bench press. Yes. Brother Chen, can I take a break?
Dingli asked with a bitter face. No, I will be more tired if I take a break.
Continue.
Xiao Chen shook his head and said lightly.
Okay. An hour passed, 2 hours passed.
Dingli finally collapsed on the ground.
He now understood why the guy ran to take over his shift.
He turned his head and suddenly noticed that the guy who offered him a cigarette was looking at him with a gloating smile. Okay, that's all for today, take a day off tomorrow. Xiao Chen looked at the time and saw that it was almost time, so he stood up and said loudly.
Yes.
The security guards were all excited to hear that they could rest tomorrow, and they were almost cheering a few times. They were definitely happier than the students who heard that they would have a holiday. Although the training time was short, only 2 days, the training volume was really too much. However, after each training session, Xiao Chen would give them a kind of Chinese medicine soup. Not long after drinking it, all the fatigue would disappear, and the whole body would feel indescribably relaxed.
It was really painful and happy. Dingzi, how do you feel?
Xiao Chen looked at Dingli, who was lying on the ground, and asked with a smile.
I feel weak all over, I don't want to move my fingers anymore. I'm seriously lacking in exercise.
I'll feel much better if I do basic exercises for a few days in a row and adjust my physical condition.
Ah? This is basic exercise? Of course, real masters can't be trained in the gym.
Xiao Chen took out a cigarette and threw it to him. I have something to do tomorrow and won't come to the company.
You should keep an eye on this side. Okay. Especially strangers, you can't let them in casually, understand? Yes. I will also ask Dahan to come to the company tomorrow. If there is anything, just call him. Yes. Okay, you take a rest, and then get off work. I'm leaving first. I'll lie down for a while. He.
Xiao Chen chuckled, left the gym, and walked towards the office. Before he got to the office, his cell phone rang. He took it out and saw that it was an unfamiliar number.
Hello? Is it Minister Xiao?
A woman's voice came from the receiver.
It's me, who are you? Xiao Chen was puzzled. He called himself Minister Xiao? Could he be someone in the company? I'm your mother-in-law. Ah? Xiao Chen's eyes widened. Mother-in-law? What the hell is this?
He, you have no conscience.
I'm Xiaoyan's mother. We've met before.
A few black lines flashed across Xiao Chen's forehead again.
Tong Yan's mother? She also claimed to be her mother-in-law? What's going on? Minister Xiao. No, Xiao, why haven't you come to play at home these days?
I asked Tong Yan, and she always said you were busy.
Ahem, auntie, how did you know my phone number?
Xiao Chen glanced at the office not far away and stopped. Oh, I secretly saw it from Tong Yan's phone.
Xiao Chen looked around and came to a place where no one was nearby. Then you call me. Tong Yan doesn't know? Well, she doesn't know. I called just to ask when you will come to play at home. In addition, auntie wants to discuss something with you. I'm very busy recently. Whatever it is, just tell me on the phone. It's nothing. I just want to ask you how far you and Xiaoyan have developed. You have to hurry up. If you don't have time to get married, you can get a marriage certificate first without holding a wedding. Xiao Chen was completely confused. Wedding? Getting a marriage certificate? What is this? Look, when can we meet your parents and talk about the bride price? Dowry?
Xiao Chen heard this and thought that this call was probably about the bride price.
Well, auntie, you see, should you discuss this matter with Tong Yan first?
I'm her mother, I say whatever I want, why discuss it with her?
Xiao, my Xiaoyan is a good girl.
Since she was in school, the men who chased her can form a reinforcement division.
You must cherish her.
Xiao Chen was speechless again.
Reinforcement division? Damn, isn't this a bit exaggerated? Does she know how many reinforcement divisions there are? Xiao, if you are really busy, I can go to your company to find you and we can have a face-to-face meeting. How about that? Tong's mother said something when she saw Xiao Chen didn't say anything. No, what, auntie, how about this? I'll go visit you after I discuss it with Tong Yan, how about that?
Xiao Chen wiped the cold sweat off his forehead.
Okay, but that girl is shy, you have to take the initiative, do you hear me? Yes, I'll take the initiative. Well, women, even if they say no, they still want to. Seize the time and do something serious.
Otherwise, you go find Xiaoyan and tell her that she doesn't have to go home tonight, you two can go on a date or something.
Xiao Chen was completely defeated. Was this encouraging him to eat her daughter? After finishing his meal in the villa, Xiao Chen said hello to Su Qing and drove straight to the second municipal hospital. When he arrived at the second municipal hospital, Xiao Chen met Li's mother and Li Hanho, who were having dinner. Li's mother's dinner was sent by the herbal medicine shop, which was adjusted at any time according to her physical condition, which would help her recovery. And the prescriptions for herbal medicine were all prescribed by Xiao Chen himself. Now, Li's mother has 100% trust in Xiao Chen's medical skills, and even thinks that he is magical, and that he took her life back from the hands of the King of Hell. Brother Chen, you are here, eat something? Li Hanho saw Xiao Chen coming in, put down the steamed bun, and smiled at Xiao Chen. I've eaten. Xiao Chen smiled and shook his head, said hello to Li's mother, and found a place to sit down. Aiken, I feel that my health is fine now. When can I be discharged? Living here is quite troublesome. Dean Li comes here every day. Mother Li looked at Xiao Chen, but she was sighing in her heart. She thought that they were almost kicked out of the hospital. Now, the dean comes to greet them every day. It is really a world of difference. And all these changes are because of the young man in front of him. Well, I came here today to talk about this matter. Auntie, if you want to be discharged, you can go through the discharge procedures the day after tomorrow. As Xiao Chen said, he took out the key from his pocket and put it on the table. Last time I told Dehan to help you find a house. I will have dinner with Yao Lao in the evening. He said that he has an idle villa here, right next to Huangzhong. The surrounding environment is very good and very quiet. Then he gave me the key and said that you can live there first. Yao Lao's villa? How can this be appropriate? Mother Li subconsciously wanted to refuse. She was a woman who didn't like to owe favors. Auntie, there's nothing wrong with it. Just move in first. Xiao Chen smiled, if you think Yao Lao's is not suitable, then treat it as mine. You won't be polite to me, right? When Li's mother heard him say that, she thought about it and nodded slowly, okay. Seeing that Li's mother agreed, Xiao Chen threw the key to Li Hanho. Wait until the day after tomorrow, I'll pick you up from the hospital. Yeah. Li Hanho didn't say anything polite to Xiao Chen, and he remembered it in his heart. Dahan, I have something to do tomorrow and I won't be in the company. You can go to the company tomorrow. Okay. Someone may be bad for President Su recently. When you go to the company tomorrow, don't worry about anything else. Just be responsible for President Su's safety. Brother Chen, don't worry. I will definitely protect President Su's safety.
Li Hanho saw that Xiao Chun was serious and nodded vigorously.
Auntie, on your side, I'll ask Dean Li to help you arrange a caregiver or something?
Xiao Chun was very thoughtful. No, I can take care of myself. Li's mother smiled and shook her head. Xiao Chun nodded, stayed in the ward for a while, checked Li's mother's pulse, and then left. He did not return to Tulip Villa, but went to the lonely bar. As night fell, the lights and wine were bright, and the scene was bustling. Especially in a big city like Longhai, the nightlife is colorful, and people who work all day are always happy to come out to vent their stress or desires. When he arrived at the lonely bar, it was already crowded, the lights were flashing, and it seemed a bit noisy. On the stage, several rock singers were shouting hysterically, and in the small dance floor below, there were also lonely men and women swinging their bodies wildly, exerting excess hormones. Xiao Chun was familiar with the road, walked through the bustling crowd, and walked into the office area at the back.
Brother Chen, you are here.
Xiao Dao was wiping his knife that had killed countless people.
When he heard the sound, he looked up and saw that it was Xiao Chun, put down the knife, and stood up.
Yeah. Xiao Chen nodded, his eyes swept over the knife on the table, and he smiled. Why are you hugging your knife in the office at night instead of going out to hug a girl? In this life, I can live without a girl, but I can't live without a killing knife. Xiao Dao ran his fingers across the blade and chuckled, it is my beloved.
Xiao Chen grinned, is this the person who loves knives? If it gets out, it will easily make people think you have a fetish. Let them think, they don't understand, a knife, for a swordsman, what does it mean? Xiao Dao didn't care. Xiao Chen was silent for a few seconds. Indeed, since ancient times, hasn't there been a saying? The knife is there, the person is there, the knife is broken, the person dies. Perhaps, for Xiao Dao, this is the case. He can be called a swordsman. Brother Chen, I have made an appointment with the funeral home. Tomorrow morning at 10 o'clock, the official burial will be. Xiao Dao put away the knife and said to Xiao Chun. Yes. According to what you said, there won't be any complicated etiquette process. Xiao Chen nodded. Su Yunfei's death couldn't be exposed, so he didn't plan to make a big fuss.
Just let him rest in peace quietly.
Isn't it said?
You can tell whether a person is awesome or not by looking at his funeral. These days, Xiao Chen sometimes wondered, if Su Yunfei didn't die with him in private, if he died for the country, what kind of glory would he enjoy?
Wrapped in horsehide? Red flag covering his body? Even the big guys in the military would come to see him off in person, right? Xiao Chen sighed.
What he owed Su Yunfei was not only a life, but also a glory that belonged to him.
I'll go see Lao Su. Xiao Chen became more and more annoyed as he thought about it. He came to the next room and looked at the photos on the table. He was silent for a while. Pop.
Xiao Chen lit 3 cigarettes, stood in front of the photos, and then lit one himself and took a few puffs.
Lao Su, I will get back the honor that belongs to you. I'll take you there tomorrow.
For more than 10 minutes, Xiao Chen only said this sentence, then turned and left the room. On the table, 3 new cigarettes were standing up, the smoke curled up, and the light flashed.
Brother Chen, shall we go out for a seat?
Xiao Dao saw that Xiao Chen was in a bad mood and said. Xiao Chen took a deep breath and smiled casually, okay, let's go out and see if there are any pretty girls. Ha, the girls who come to play with me are of good quality.
Xiao Dao also grinned, limped, and walked outside.
When they came outside, the sound of music rushed towards them, making people's heartbeats faster. Brother Dao. A waiter saw Xiao Dao and hurried forward to greet him.
Send 24 bottles of wine to seat number 1, and some fruit plates and snacks. Xiao Dao said to the waiter.
Okay. Coming to position number 1, Xiao Chen looked around and found that this place was the best in the bar in terms of both visual and environment.
Why is this place empty? Xiao Chen asked curiously.
Ha, I knew you were coming tonight, so I reserved it for you. Xiao Dao said with a smile. Soon, the waiter brought a fruit plate, snacks, and beer.
Come on, Brother Chen, let's go for a drink first. Xiao Dao poured the wine and picked it up. Yeah.
The two clinked their glasses and drank the beer with their heads tilted back. The cold wine flowed, and they felt indescribably refreshed.
Brother Chen, has Su Qing's trouble been solved?
Xiao Dao leaned on the soft chair and asked casually.
No, the other party hasn't shown up, and I'm waiting too. I guess it's almost there.
Xiao Chen shook his head. No matter who the other party was, if he really wanted to hurt Su Qing, he would kill him with one blow and never have any more trouble.
Yeah, call me if you need me. Okay. The two chatted casually and drank one cup after another. Xiao Dao, is this your friend?
Suddenly, a fat man with a big gold chain around his neck came over.
It's a brother.
Xiao Dao emphasized, and then introduced, Brother Chen, this is Lao Yang, from the Flying Eagle Gang, and I am also protected by the Flying Eagle Gang. Hearing the Flying Eagle Gang, Xiao Chen raised his eyebrows and smiled and stretched out his hand. Hello, my name is Xiao Chen.
It's not easy to be treated as a brother by Xiao Dao. The fat man said meaningfully and shook hands with Xiao Chen. Just call me Lao Yang or Fatty Yang.
Okay.
Xiao Chen smiled and nodded.
His first impression of the fat man was not bad.
Come on, buddy, toast you a glass. Fatty Yang raised his glass and clinked glasses with Xiao Chen. I knew Lao Yang before.
He is doing well in the Flying Eagle Gang now. He is considered a middle-level leader.
Xiao Dao said with a smile. Oh. That's amazing, Lao Yang. Which hall are you from? Blood Eagle Hall. By the way, Lao Yang, how is the internal strife in your Flying Eagle Gang going? It's still the same.
The four major halls are wary of each other and are deadlocked with each other. However, our Blood Eagle Hall supports the prince.
How do you say it? Everything that is unjust will perish. Fatty Yang drank another glass of beer and grinned. Justice? Ha, you Blood Eagle Hall probably want to use the emperor to control the princes, right? Xiao Dao rolled his eyes.
Xiao Dao, you can say this in front of me, but don't say it in front of outsiders. Fatty Yang looked around and lowered his voice. I'll tell you secretly, our boss may have had this idea before, but now he doesn't.
Why?
Yesterday afternoon, Longto's younger brother came back from another place. I heard that he brought back several first-class masters to support his nephew to take the position. This guy is a ruthless person.
He has served in foreign troops and worked in the Golden Triangle.
So, even if Long Tu dies, others can't make any waves.
That means there will be no more chaos? Not necessarily. A new emperor appoints new ministers.
When the prince takes the throne, he must use his own people. Not to mention that the four hall masters are all eyeing the position of Long Tu. Even if they are loyal, I'm afraid they will have to wash out a few. Fatty Yang analyzed in a serious manner. Maybe a bloody purge will be launched soon.
Xiao Chen looked at him and found it a little funny. This guy shouldn't be in the underworld. He should be an expert or a critic. Forget it, why bring this up?
Anyway, my boss has already expressed his loyalty to the prince. For small minions like us, we just have to do whatever the higher-ups say.
Come, drink. Fatty Yang said no more and picked up the wine glass.
Xiao Chen took a sip of wine, his expression somewhat amused. A mere second-rate underworld force actually gathered many first-rate masters, worthy of being a place of turmoil for 100 years.
Just don't know, who is the master of the ups and downs under this turmoil? 3 gangs? 7 major families? Or someone else?
In the morning, Xiao Chen prepared breakfast and waited for the two sisters to come downstairs. Today is the day when Su Yunfei is buried, but the two sisters cannot see him off in person. For the two sisters, it is a bit unfair and cruel, but Xiao Chen has no choice but to hide it from them.
Good morning.
The two sisters came downstairs, and Su Qing greeted Xiao Chen. Wow, why is today's breakfast so rich?
Is it a special day? Su Xiaoming jumped down and shouted in surprise.
Hearing this, Xiao Chen's heart trembled, and he squeezed out a few smiles. Of course it's a special day.
Oh? What day?
The two sisters all looked over and guessed in their hearts, could it be this guy's birthday?
It's my 1-week anniversary in Longhai. Xiao Chen said very wittily.
The two sisters all rolled their eyes and looked down.
Tisk.
Su Xiaoming raised her middle finger to express her deep contempt, and then ran to the dining table and sat down. Let's eat. After dinner, the three left the villa, first sent Su Xiaoming to the No. 1 middle school, and then rushed to the company. Xiao Chen, didn't you say you had something to do today? When will you go to work? For some reason, Su Qing always felt that Xiao Chen was weird today, but she couldn't tell what was wrong. Well, I'll send you to the company later, and I'll go out to work.
I'll be in time.
Xiao Chen looked at the road ahead. To be honest, he didn't dare to look at Su Qing's eyes, for fear that this woman would see some flaws.
Oh, do you need my help? No, it's just a small matter.
Xiao Chen shook his head. By the way, I found someone to take charge of your safety today.
I'm not leaving the company today.
Then be careful, who knows when the guy hiding in the dark will take action.
Oh.
I told you about this person, Lee Hanho, who is now also a security guard in the security department of our company, but because his mother is sick, he doesn't come to work much.
Yeah.
He is a bit stupid, so if he does something wrong, don't blame him. Su Qing smiled and shook her head. No, the person you like must have something extraordinary. While the two were talking, they came to the company. Before they reached the door, they saw a tall and burly figure standing at the door.
Dahan, what are you doing here? Xiaochen slowed down the car, lowered the window, looked at Li Hanho and asked. Brother Chen, I'm waiting for you.
Then you don't have to stand at the door, go in, to the parking lot.
Oh. Li Hanho nodded and ran towards the parking lot at an amazing speed. Su Cheng looked at Li Hanho's back, a little dazed. He is Li Hanho? How can he run so fast?
This guy has fought with black bears in the primeval forests of the 3 northeastern provinces, he is very strong.
I suddenly thought of that movie. King Kong?
Yes. His destructive power is about the same as King Kong. Xiao Chen chuckled, stopped the car, and opened the door pop. As soon as Xiao Chen got out of the car, he found that Li Hanho took a big step and came to the passenger side, then bent down to open the door, with a simple smile on his face. Mr. Su, please. This scene made Xiao Chen a little stupid.
Who taught this guy?
Su Qing was also stunned, then got out of the car, looked up at Li Hanho, and smiled. Li Hanho, hello. As he said that, he stretched out his fair right hand.
Hello, President Su. Li Hanho looked at Su Qing's right hand and felt a little flattered.
He wiped his right hand on his clothes, and then shook it carefully. He had no choice, because it was just a small hand. He was afraid that if he squeezed it hard, he would break it.
Just now, Xiaochen kept praising you on the road. It really lives up to your reputation. Brother Chen praised me for my ability to eat again, right?
Li Hanho scratched his head and said with a silly smile. Xiao Chen rolled his eyes. He was just about to praise this guy for getting smart, but he didn't expect to say such a thing again. Su Qing also smiled. Although our company is not as strong as those big groups, we can still afford meals.
Don't be hungry, eat as much as you can. Wait another day, let me see how much you can eat. President Su, you are so nice.
Xiao Chen shook his head watching from the side, and bought this fool with just one sentence.
Dahan, your task today is to protect President Su. Let me take you to Assistant Qin's office later, and you stay there today. President Su's office is next door.
Brother Chen, don't worry, I will definitely protect President Su today.
Yeah. Su Qing also had a good impression of Li Hanho.
Dealing with smart people too much will make you tired, but dealing with Li Hanho will obviously not make you tired, but will make you feel very relaxed. The three of them came to the office. Su Cheng went to work, and Xiao Chen took Li Hanho to the next door. Pa. Xiao Chen knocked on the door, and Xin Lan's voice came from inside. Come in.
Wow, Sister Lan, you look so beautiful today.
As soon as Xiao Chen entered the door, he began to flatter her.
This made Li Hanho curl his lips secretly. Isn't Brother Chen too fake? He praised someone for being beautiful without even seeing her. Don't come here.
Xin Lan raised her head and rolled her eyes. You haven't come to me these past 2 days.
Sister Lan, don't blame me for this.
I'm training those rookies.
President Su and you handed the security department to me. Didn't you want me to build a brand new security department?
So, I can't let the 2 leaders down.
Okay, you always have so many excuses. Xin Lan said, her eyes fell on Li Hanho. Is this guy the bear you mentioned?
Hey, he's really strong.
Hey, I have a name, Li Hanho.
Xiao Chen coughed. And what, my brother is still a virgin, Sister Lan? Don't mess with me.
Who do you think I am? Xin Lan rolled her eyes at Xiao Chen again. Brother Chen, is she the woman who lent you the Hummer that day? Li Hanho looked at Xin Lan and asked in a low voice. How did you know?
Xiao Chen was a little surprised. The perfume on her body smells the same as the one in the car.
Oh, yes, she is the woman you said you like.
Ahem, Dahan, you have to call Qin assistant or Lan Jie. Don't call her a woman all the time, this woman is not easy to mess with.
Oh. Hey, what are you two whispering about?
Xin Lan frowned and asked when she saw the 2 people's shifty eyes. Nothing, I'm introducing you to Dahan.
Xiao Chen looked at Qin Lan and smiled. Why did you bring him here? It's like this. I'm not in the company today, so I want the hand to protect General Manager Su's safety. I plan to let him stay in Sister Lan's office, so that if General Manager Su has anything, she can give him instructions. Of course, Sister Lan can also give him instructions. Although he is not as handsome, smart, or capable as me, he can still do some rough work like running errands. Qin Lan's tone was a little playful. He is not as handsome or smart as you, I can see that, but he is not as capable as you. Hee, I think he should be more capable than you, this big guy is much bigger than you. Hee, Sister Lan, let's not be dirty, be elegant, okay? Xiao Chen immediately understood what Qin Lan meant. Damn it, this woman is seducing him again. Sister Lan, Brother Chen didn't lie to you, I'm really not as capable as him, Li Hanho said in a muffled voice beside him. Oh? Qin Lan smiled, her tone was strange, how do you know? Have you two done it? Yes, I did, and I lost. Li Hanho nodded. Ha, Xiao Chen, I really didn't expect that you were so good at this, your taste is quite strong. Qin Lan laughed so hard that her body shook. Xiao Chen was speechless, it was so damn dirty. Brother Chen, did I say something wrong? Li Hanho was a little surprised, why did Sister Lan laugh so exaggeratedly? No, you didn't say anything wrong. Dahan, let me ask you, when you and Xiao Chen did it, who attacked and who defended? Not necessarily, sometimes Brother Chen attacked, sometimes I attacked. Ha 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 ha. Qin Lan laughed so hard that tears came out. Dahan, shut up. Xiao Chen was completely speechless, regretting bringing this fool here, wasn't he acting very well in front of Su Qing just now? Oh. Li Hanho nodded and stopped talking. Xiao Chen, you can be both top and bottom, ha ha. Sister Lan, stop teasing Dahan. Forget it, I'll let him go to the security department, so that he won't be led astray by you here. Hey, I don't like to hear this, how can I lead him astray? Okay, it happens that I have some physical work today, and I need his help. Physical work? What are you thinking about, get out. When you come back, I promise he's still a virgin. Hee, if Sister Lan can conquer him, I don't mind. I'm leaving first, bye. Xiao Chen laughed evilly and patted Dahan's shoulder, take care. Oh. Li Hanho was a little confused. What were these two talking about? Why couldn't he understand? People in this big city would go around in circles, which was really troublesome. Xiao Chen left the office and went to the security department again, met with Ding Li, and then drove away from the company. Xiao Dao, have you arrived? Yes, I'm already here. Okay, I'll go over now. If there's anything, you can handle it first. Okay. Xiao Chen hung up the phone and turned on the local radio. Yesterday afternoon, 4 armed robbers robbed the Jinjufu gold shop on East 3rd Road, and gold jewelry worth millions was swept away. According to the latest news from the police station, it has been confirmed that the robbers who robbed the gold shop were the same group of people as those who robbed the bank and armored car before. In the local radio station, the female anchor was reporting and reminding citizens to be more careful when traveling. Haven't they been caught yet? Xiao Chen was a little surprised and raised his eyebrows. What on earth do these guys want to do by committing crimes in Longhai City one after another? Also, what are the military and the police doing? It's been 4 or 5 days, and they are still letting them get away with it? Are they too strong and cunning, or is there something else going on? Out of intuition, Xiao Chen felt that something was wrong. Although the police on TV seem useless, in fact, the Chinese police are still very efficient, especially for such a serious case. It has already been reported directly to the Imperial Court. Longhai City, the largest funeral home. The Maserati president slowly stopped, and Xiao Chen got out of the car. Brother Chen. Xiao Dao, who had been waiting at the door for a long time, limped over. Well, everything is arranged? Xiao Chen nodded and patted Xiao Dao on the shoulder. Well, we'll leave at 10 o'clock. Okay. The two entered the funeral home and came to the empty mourning hall. The place where the body was originally placed was empty. On the table in front, there were urns and black and white photos. 3 incense sticks were burning, and Su Yunfei in the photo was looking forward with a smile. Next to them, there were wreaths, which Xiao Chen specially asked Xiao Dao to prepare. There were no elegiac couplets or names on them, only a few special symbols. No one came to pay their respects, and even the staff were not there, which seemed a bit deserted and solemn.
Xiao Chen came to the table, looked at the black and white photos, and didn't speak for a while.
Xiao Dao stood behind him, his body straight, like a knife ready to be unsheathed. Do you think Lao Su will blame me?
After a long time, Xiao Chen asked. I don't know, but if it were me, I wouldn't blame you.
I'm willing.
Xiao Dao's voice was not loud, but serious. The huge morning hall fell silent again until the funeral music started and the staff walked in.
Excuse me, are we going to have a farewell ceremony now?
The staff came forward and came to Xiao Chen and Xiao Dao and asked softly, let's start. Xiao Chen nodded, took out a cigarette, lit it, and stood on the table.
Just the two of you?
The staff was a little surprised.
Well, just the two of us, let's go through the process.
Xiao Dao said next to him. Okay. The staff was a little surprised and looked at the urn on the table. Why is it so weird? The farewell ceremony began, and the staff followed the process. This might be the first farewell ceremony for two people in all the years she has hosted farewell ceremonies.
1 bow.
2 bows.
3 bows.
Xiao Chen and Xiao Dao stood in front of the table, bowed, and a trace of cold air spread.
The staff standing in front shuddered, and then she looked around. Why was it so cold all of a sudden? Okay, we don't need you here, leave at 10 o'clock, and come back.
Xiao Chen said lightly. Okay. The staff was eager to leave quickly. She was never afraid before, but now she didn't know why, but she felt cold all over, as if she was in a cold storage. Old Su Qing, and Xiao Meng are both fine, you don't have to worry about them. Su Qing's troubles have not been solved yet, but don't worry, I'm here, no one can hurt her. And Xiao Meng, a girl has changed a lot since she grew up, she is much more beautiful than the photos you showed me. Xiao Chen stood in front of the table, looking at the black and white photos, and said softly. In front of her eyes, scenes from the past kept flashing. The first time they met, the first time they competed, the first time they drank. They fought side by side, lived and died together. There was joy, tears, and scarlet blood. Time passed minute by minute, and the funeral music was played over and over again. At 10 o'clock, the staff appeared again. She was a little surprised to find that the two had been standing in front of the table from just now to now, maintaining the same posture, and even their positions had not changed at all. Weird man. Everything today was weird. Sir, it's 10 o'clock. The staff stepped forward and said cautiously, as if afraid of disturbing them.
Yeah. Xiao Chen retracted his gaze from the black and white photo and nodded. Go directly to the cemetery?
Yes, there are already staff waiting there. Okay. Then, 2 staff in black suits came in and wanted to take the urn and black and white photo, but were stopped by Xiao Chen.
I'll take the urn.
The 2 staff members looked at each other and didn't touch the urn again. Xiao Chen held the urn in both hands, while Xiao Dao held the black and white photo, followed by 2 staff members, and walked out. Su Yunfei, who should have been covered with the national flag and enjoyed infinite glory, was buried in obscurity. Every step of Xiao Chen was a little strenuous, as if the urn in his arms was heavier than 1,000 pounds. Sir, there is a special car over there, the staff member guided. Xiao Dao, you take the photo and take that car.
What about you?
I think Lao Su would rather take his sister's car. In this way, it is equivalent to Su Qing sending him a ride.
Xiao Dao nodded, okay.
Xiao Chen held the urn and came to the parking lot, opened the door and got in, and then gently placed the urn on the passenger seat.
Lao Su, this is Su Qing's car.
Xiao Chen started the car and drove towards the cemetery, while the funeral home's vehicle followed behind. Halfway through, when passing a supermarket, Xiao Chen stopped the car, gestured to the car behind him, signaled them to go first, and then walked in. A few minutes later, he came out with a shopping bag in his hand, which contained a lot of things. Lao Su, let's have a few drinks later, brothers. After getting in the car, Xiao Chen put the shopping bag on the back seat and continued to drive to the cemetery. The location was getting more and more remote, and there were fewer and fewer cars on the road. It took more than an hour to reach the cemetery.
This cemetery is not an ordinary cemetery.
Each cemetery is a long distance apart. If an ordinary cemetery is a commercial house, one next to another, one household next to another, then this is a manor. In addition to burying bones, there is also a small piece of land belonging to oneself. This is also the reason why the cemetery here is sky high. Xiao Chen got off the car, took the urn, looked around, and smiled. This was his first time here, but he was quite satisfied.
He didn't say that the promotional picture was one thing and the reality was another.
After all, most of the people buried here were big names in Longhai City, and the funeral home didn't dare to deceive them.
Brother Chen, are you satisfied? Xiao Dao stepped forward and asked, well, facing the sea, spring is warm and flowers are blooming.
Xiao Chen looked at the sea not far away and the unknown small flowers around him, and nodded.
Mr. Xiao, shall we start now?
A staff member came over and asked.
Well.
Xiao Chen nodded, came to the tomb, gently put down the urn, and then lit incense and cigarettes.
The staff also prepared various offerings, and even piles of paper money.
When the incense was gone and the smoke was gone, the urn was put into the tomb. Xiao Chen and Xiao Dao filled the soil themselves, and then pushed up the marble coffin lid. They stopped only after they made sure there was no gap. Then, there was another series of ceremonies. After all the ceremonies were completed, it was already an hour later, and it was noon. The scene was quiet, except for the sound of waves hitting the cliffs not far away. Xiao Chun, Xiao Dao and the staff all bowed 3 times, and the burial ceremony was completed. Mr.
Xiao, that's it.
Well, thank you for your trouble.
You're welcome, this is what we should do. Xiao Dao, you can go back with them in the car.
Xiao Qin turned his head and looked at Xiao Dao.
What about you?
I'll stay with Lao Su for a while, and then drive back by myself.
Xiao Dao opened his mouth and finally nodded, okay.
Xiao Dao and the staff left, and the empty cemetery was left with only Xiao Chen and a newly erected tombstone. The wind blew, and the waves on the sea became bigger. The waves hit the cliffs, making a rumbling sound. Xiao Chen walked slowly to the cliff a few dozen meters away. Looking out, he could see the blue sea.
Ah!
Xiao Chen looked up to the sky and howled.
This was a way of venting.
Under his feet, the waves were even more turbulent, rolling in several meters high. Suddenly, his eyes fell on the sea surface under the cliff more than 10 meters away. There was a speedboat there, rising and falling with the waves.
How could there be a speedboat? Could it be the cemetery managers?
Xiao Chen's eyes flashed with surprise, and the thought flashed through his mind, but he didn't think too much about it.
He was in no mood.
After standing on the cliff for a while, he came to the car, took the shopping bag from the car, and then returned to the tombstone and sat on the ground.
Lao Su, let's drink something.
Xiao Chen took out Red Star Erguotu from the shopping bag, opened it, poured some on the ground first, and then, without a cup, looked up at the bottle mouth and drank it.
Ha!
Xiao Chen exhaled a breath of alcohol, put down the bottle, and took out peanuts and other snacks from the shopping bag. Old Su, look, this is a recent photo of Su Qing and Xiao Meng. I took this secretly at the risk of being discovered, just to show you. Xiao Chen took out his mobile phone again, found 2 photos, and grinned at the black and white photo on the tombstone. Su Qing is fine. If Xiao Meng finds out that I secretly took photos of her, I'll probably be kicked out as a pervert.
Your sister doesn't like me, but fortunately, who am I? I can conquer her in a minute.
One person, one tombstone. The atmosphere at the scene seemed a little weird and desolate. Xiao Chen drank, kept talking, laughed from time to time, and occasionally his eyes turned red. Time passed, and there were more and more empty bottles in front of the tombstone, placed in all directions, and Xiao Chen was also about 70% drunk. Old Su, you used to say that there is no need to bury bones in the hometown. There are green mountains everywhere in life. But the green mountains are lucky to bury loyal bones, and now I am wrapped in my horse's hide. Another day, when the time comes, I will bring Su Qing and Xiao Meng to see you. Xiao Chen leaned on the tombstone, looking up at the sea in the distance. His eyes were a little empty, and he murmured. The sun gradually set in the west, the wind was weak, and the sound of the waves was much weaker. Just when Xiao Chen was half drunk, half awake, and half asleep, a siren sounded faintly, and gradually became clear. Then, the roar of a car sounded, and a large displacement off-road vehicle rushed over, raising dust all the way. In the car, 4 men in their 30s, with cold expressions, were filled with a murderous aura. And in their hands, they resolutely held AK-47. Maserati, parked quietly on the side of the road, attracted the attention of 4 men in the SUV. They were a little surprised. Someone was here? Isn't there usually no one here? Then, they noticed Xiao Chen leaning against the tombstone. A fierce look flashed across his face, and a harsh brake sound rang out. The car door opened, and 4 men quickly jumped out of the car, holding AK-47s, and rushed towards Xiao Chen. Raise your hands. The man in the front raised the AK-47, and the black muzzle pointed at Xiao Chen's head.
Xiao Chen didn't move, as if he was really drunk, leaning against the tombstone. Drunk?
The four men did not rush forward. One of them came to Xiao Chen with a gun, and the muzzle of the gun was against his head.
He's a drunkard.
Then don't worry about him, let's retreat.
A beard, who should be the leader of the four, looked around, and then walked towards the cliff. Where's the rope?
It's with me. Another thin man opened the backpack behind him and took out a coil of rope from it. Just when the four men had just put the rope down and hadn't fixed it, the sound of police sirens was getting closer and closer, and there was even a trend of surrounding them.
Boss, the police are here, what should we do?
Old 3, fix the rope quickly.
Old 5, go and catch that drunkard.
Humph, I was too lazy to kill him, but now that the police are here, let's use him as a hostage. The bearded man sneered, and was not panicked at all because of being surrounded by the police.
Okay.
The thin man quickly fixed the rope, and the other man walked towards Xiao Chen with a grim smile. Boy, your luck is really bad. You can get drunk anywhere, but you come here to get drunk. Since you are so willing to stay in the cemetery, you can stay here forever. The sirens around were getting louder and louder, and even the police cars speeding over could be seen. Old 6, cover Old 3 and Old 5, attack. The bearded man looked at the police car, a cold color flashed in his eyes, and he gave a loud order.
Yes.
The man next to him raised his gun and pulled the trigger at the police car.
Bang, bang, bang.
The crisp gunshots rang out, and the police cars dared not rush forward anymore. They stopped one after another, and then the police jumped out of the car, took cover on the spot, and launched a counterattack.
Bang, bang. Old 5 also joined in.
In his opinion, a drunkard could not make any waves. His only role was to be used as a hostage and a shield at the critical moment. Moreover, judging from the car driven by this drunkard, he should be rich or noble, not an ordinary citizen.
This kind of hostage is the most useful and the most feared by the police.
Old 3, how long will it take to fix it? The bearded man took out a grenade from his waist, opened it, and threw it out with force. 1 more minute. The thin man replied.
Okay. Delay for another minute and retreat.
As soon as the bearded man finished speaking, there was a boom and the grenade fell to the ground and exploded. The glass of several nearby police cars was shattered. At the same time, screams were heard, and several policemen were cut by flying shrapnel and glass fragments, and even 2 policemen were hit in the vitals.
Fight back.
An angry female voice sounded, followed by a loud gunshot, and the police launched a comprehensive counterattack, suppressing the attack of the 3 people for a while. Old 5, drag that drunkard over here. The bearded man glanced coldly, and policemen kept coming. If they delay any longer, they may not be able to escape. In addition, the military has already participated, and it is estimated that it will not take long for armed helicopters to arrive. By then, they will become live targets in the vast sea with speedboats.
Okay.
Old 5 held the gun in one hand and pinched Xiao Chen's arm with the other hand. Drunkard, get up.
You are disturbing my brothers. Taking a rest. Get out.
Finally, stimulated by the sound of gunfire and explosions, the drunk Xiao Chen slowly opened his eyes, frowned, and said drunkenly. Hearing Xiao Chen's words, Lao Wu was furious.
How dare this guy tell them to get out? Boy, are you really willing to wake up? Lao Wu raised his gun and pointed the hot muzzle at Xiao Chen's head. Believe it or not, I'll shoot your head off?
The instinctive sense of crisis made Xiao Chen sober up a little bit, and he finally saw the situation clearly.
4 fully armed men, a group of policemen. This is the situation in front of him. 4 fully armed men? AK-47? Xiao Chen frowned. Why did this equipment look so familiar? Suddenly, he thought of something. Could this be the 4 armed robbers?
Boy, are you scared?
I'm telling you that you have become our hostage.
Seeing that Xiao Chen didn't speak, Lao Wu thought he was scared, so he lowered the muzzle of the gun a little to avoid accidentally firing and smashing this guy's head.
At that critical moment, there would be no hostage.
Listen, everyone inside, you are surrounded. Put down your weapons and surrender immediately, otherwise.
Outside the encirclement, the police suddenly shouted. Old 5, what are you mumbling to that drunkard? Bring him over here and prepare to evacuate.
The bearded man turned cold, and before the police finished shouting, he shook his hand and threw another grenade, which exploded in the police group, and screams were heard everywhere.
Xiao Chen's eyelids twitched. They were really a group of murderous bandits who dared to fight the police so hard. Boy, get up. Old Five reached out to grab Xiao Chen again. Xiao Chen's eyes fell on the dagger on Old Five's waist, but after thinking about it, he gave up the idea of killing him. It's easy to kill him, but what about the other 3 bandits? You know, they all have AK-47s in their hands, and there are grenades and the like. If you don't have the confidence to kill with one shot, killing one will put yourself in a trap. No matter how powerful he is, he can't avoid the shooting of 3 AK-47s, especially at such a close distance. After thinking about it, Xiao Chen stood up shakily, and then Lao Wu pointed a gun at his head, and walked towards the cliff step by step. For the last time, you have been surrounded, put down your weapons immediately. The police shouted again, but they were still responded by a volley of bullets and a grenade. Prepare to attack. The police were also furious. The military was about to arrive. If they couldn't take it down, wouldn't it be a joke for the military? After all, these are 2 systems. Although the superiors require cooperation in handling the case, they are also holding their breath and competing with each other. If you don't want us to hurt the hostages, then retreat 500 meters. The bearded man finally spoke. His voice was cold and steady, and he didn't show any fear because of being surrounded. This made Xiao Chen couldn't help but look at him again. He was a real gangster with a very strong psychological quality. No wonder he could commit 3 major cases in a row and get away with it for so many days. However, what about the money and gold they robbed? The bearded man's words made the policemen who were about to attack stop their fire. Do they still have hostages? Where did the hostages come from? Didn't we confirm that there were only 4 of them when we were chasing them just now? A hot female police officer in the police team frowned and asked loudly. Captain Han, it seems that they really have a hostage. There is a Maserati President parked over there. Captain Han, it is speculated that the hostage was originally here, but was bumped into by 4 gangsters, so. Damn it, it's really a mess. The female police officer couldn't help but curse. They had been chasing and blocking for so long just to find an environment where no one was around and take down these 4 gangsters in one fell swoop. But how come another hostage popped up at the critical moment? Captain Han, what should we do now? A middle-aged man came over and asked in a deep voice. Captain Xiao, are all the snipers in place? The female police officer nodded at the person who came over. This was the captain of the 3rd Squadron of the Longhai Armed Police. All are in place. In 10 minutes, the people from the security area will be here. 10 minutes? That's too long. These 4 guys are so cruel and cunning that they would have run away in 10 minutes. The policewoman shook her head, gritted her teeth, and cursed Xiao Chen again in her heart. If it weren't for this unlucky guy, they would have been able to capture these 4 gangsters now. Then attack now? Team Xiao frowned and thought for a while, then said in a deep voice. No, we must ensure the safety of the hostages to the greatest extent. Continue to negotiate. The policewoman shook her head. By the way, Team Xiao, when will the armed helicopter arrive? It will probably take 10 minutes. Drag it on, continue to negotiate, and let the sniper find an opportunity. The policewoman turned around a few times, clenched her fist, and said loudly. Okay. Team Xiao nodded, left quickly, and made arrangements. The policewoman thought about it, and did not stay in place, but came to the front. I'll give you 30 seconds. If you don't retreat 500 meters, I'll kill this hostage. Just at this moment, the bearded man's voice sounded again. If you kill the hostage, none of you can escape today. Before the negotiator could speak, the policewoman could no longer hold him and shouted angrily. Then we'll fight to the death. There are 4 of us brothers, and it's more than enough to kill 40 of you. Do you believe it? The bearded man said coldly and gestured to the thin man. Done, prepare to retreat. The thin man looked up, then crouched and walked towards the cliff, pulled the rope hard, and responded after confirming that it was safe. Old 5, Old 6, cover. Yes. The bearded man glanced at Xiao Chen, who was still drunk, and turned to walk towards the cliff. Captain Han, Captain Xiao, the target is escaping. A sniper said loudly through the radio. Find an opportunity, shoot. The policewoman gritted her teeth. She had to intimidate these gangsters and make them dare not act rashly, otherwise today's operation would be a complete failure. Bang! As soon as the policewoman finished speaking, the sniper rifle fired puff. A sniper bullet hit Lao Lu's arm. The huge force made him stagger and fall to the ground. Lao Lu. The bearded man and others changed their faces. The police really dared to shoot? Cover immediately. The next second, the bearded man shouted loudly. Come here, damn it. Lao Wu hid behind Su Yunfei's tombstone and pointed a gun at Xiao Chen at the same time, asking him to stand in front of him. Xiao Chen looked at the marble under Lao Wu's feet, and his face, which was originally full of drunkenness, suddenly turned cold. Under the marble was Lao Su's ashes. Lao Wu didn't notice the abnormality on Xiao Chen's face. He leaned out and looked, then retracted it, leaned on the tombstone, and cursed, Damn, I don't know which grandson was just buried here. There was no one there when I came the day before yesterday. Hearing Lao Wu's words, Xiao Chen's expression became even colder, but he restrained his murderous intent. Now is not the time to act. Besides, he had a thought in his mind. These 4 gangsters had been here 2 days ago? That is to say, they obviously had the opportunity to leave, but why did they wait until today? Do they want to do one more job before leaving? Or do they have other purposes? I advise you to lay down your weapons and surrender, otherwise. Bang! Before the negotiator finished speaking, the bearded man hiding behind a big tree took out his AK-47 and pulled the trigger at the police car in the distance. Pang! The bullet blew up the flashing lights on a police car, and debris flew, scaring the surrounding police to lower their heads quickly to avoid getting hurt. If you don't care about the lives of the hostages, then you can't not care about your own lives, right? The bearded man said coldly, and took out a remote control-shaped electronic device from his waist. Xiao Chen looked at the electronic device, and his eyes couldn't help shrinking. High-explosive bomb detonator? How could they have this thing? I have buried a total of 12 high-explosive bombs around here. As long as you press the remote control in your hand lightly, this area will become a ruin. Hearing the bearded man's words, Xiao Chen's heart jumped. 12 high-explosive bombs? Really? Why didn't he notice anything before? But thinking of his previous mood, he sighed again. How could he pay attention to the surroundings just now? Let alone burying a few bombs, even if there were a bunch of bombs there, he was not interested in seeing if it was a real bomb. In addition to Xiao Chen, the police were also in an uproar. The gangster also buried a bomb? Sniper, can you see clearly what the other party is holding? The female police officer looked ugly and asked in a deep voice. The high-explosive bomb detonator should be real. Soon, a sniper sent back a message. The policewoman's face became even uglier. If there were really 12 high-explosive bombs buried nearby, then today would be considered a trap. Originally, they were hunters, but what about now? Who is the hunter? If they hadn't been chasing closely, if the bearded men hadn't thought the hostages were useless, if they hadn't exposed the bomb themselves. Then once the bearded men escaped and pressed the detonator, the scene. Han Fei couldn't imagine it. So, from beginning to end, they were led step by step by these 4 bandits into this dangerous area. They have changed from hunters to prey. And the 4 fleeing bandits are the final hunters. It can be imagined that the bomb detonated, the police suffered heavy losses, at least more than half of them would die. No, the special forces will come later, and they are also prey. Once it exploded, it would be a big event that shocked the whole country. Han Fei was a little crazy. What on earth were these bandits trying to do? If you don't believe me, you can go dig under the big tree next to you. There is a high-explosive bomb buried there. The bearded man's voice came again, with a bit of unwillingness. If he couldn't escape, he would definitely not say there was a bomb, but was ready to kill a large number of policemen and special forces. Now, in order to evacuate safely, we can only give up this crazy idea. Han Fei made a gesture, and 2 armed police went to dig. After a while, the bomb below was exposed. The surrounding police took a breath of cold air. There really is a bomb? Many police turned pale. This is dancing on the edge of a knife. Even, some police subconsciously stepped back a few steps, trying to stay away from the bomb, fearing that these bandits were so vicious that they wanted to die together and detonated the bomb regardless of anything. Captain Han, what should we do? Follow their request, retreat 500 meters, contact the armed helicopter, and ask them to speed up. Han Fei gritted his teeth. No matter what, we can't let these guys get away, it's too dangerous. Okay. Sniper, continue to sniper from the commanding heights, look for opportunities, and wait for my order. Yes. Captain Xiao, contact the bomb disposal expert again. Okay. Here, the police responded, while on the other side, the four gangsters sneered. It's a pity that we can't blow up these policemen. Lao Wu pointed his gun at Xiao Chen's head, looking at the retreating policeman, a little unwilling. Prepare to evacuate. Once you get on the speedboat, put on diving equipment and dive immediately. The helicopter and special forces should be here soon. The bearded man looked at the time and said coldly. Xiao Chen's eyelids jumped again. These four gangsters are really extraordinary. Especially this bearded man, who is so fucking professional that he can even grasp the timing so well. Bang! Suddenly, another sniper rifle sounded, and a bullet hit the side of the tombstone. The faces of the four gangsters changed. There were also ruthless people on the police side. At this time, they still wanted to intimidate them? Damn it, I heard that this operation was commanded by a girl. When I go back to Longhai next time, I will definitely strip this girl naked and fuck her 10 times. I like uniforms temptation the most. The thin man cursed. Stop talking nonsense. Let's talk about it after we can escape this time. The bearded man said, and poked his head slightly from behind the big tree and looked around. He could feel that there were no less than 10 snipers covering this area. If they want to evacuate safely from here, the snipers will not retreat, then they will have no chance. Listen, I hope you can release the hostages first. I will let everyone retreat. Han Yifei's voice sounded from the periphery. Withdraw the sniper too. Don't think I'm a fool. The bearded man shouted coldly, if the sniper is still there, I will kill this hostage first. If we can't evacuate, then we will die together. Okay, the sniper can be withdrawn, but you'd better not hurt the hostage. Han Yifei was completely helpless. These bandits were too sharp. They could even find the existence of the sniper. The shadows of several trees swayed, and the sniper began to retreat. Captain Han, let's wait for the armed helicopters and special forces to come. With our current equipment, we can't kill them in the first time. Once they detonate the bomb, the consequences will be unimaginable. Han Yifei's pretty face was full of unwillingness under the current situation. The special forces can't do anything. In addition, the people buried in this area are all well-known figures in Longhai City. Once an explosion occurs, their graves will definitely be affected. At that time, we will not be able to explain to their families. Captain Xiao said again. Damn it! Han Yifei cursed. Since her debut, when has she ever been so restrained? Not only does she have to care about the safety of the hostages, but she also has to care about the graves of the dead? Boss, they have all evacuated, so we should evacuate too. Lao Wu carefully poked his head out from behind the tombstone, observed carefully, and shouted to the bearded man behind the tree. Well, prepare to evacuate. As long as we get on the speedboat and put on the diving equipment, the armed helicopter will be useless. The bearded man nodded. Although there were accidents, they could still retreat safely. Damn it, it's a pity that we can't blow up these policemen to avenge my second brother. Lao Wu cursed, and kicked the tombstone as if to vent his anger. The tombstone that had just been erected shook a little, and even the marble underneath cracked a little. Do you know who is buried inside? Xiao Chen looked at the black footprints on the white stone tablet, and finally couldn't suppress his murderous intent, and asked in a low voice. Lao Wu was stunned and shook his head subconsciously, I don't know. Then I tell you, my brother and my comrade are buried inside. Today is the day he is buried, and you come to disturb him, so. Xiao Chen's voice gradually became colder, and a trace of murderous aura spread. Lao Wu sensed Xiao Chen's murderous aura, and was shocked. He subconsciously pulled the trigger and blew up the head of this drunk who made him feel dangerous. However, Xiao Chen didn't give him a chance. His right hand stretched out as fast as lightning and pinched Lao Wu's throat, so you all deserve to die. Crack! Xiao Chen crushed Lao Wu's throat, and the latter trembled, rolled his eyes, and died. His eyes were full of horror. He couldn't understand how this drunk who originally seemed to him to be non-threatening could instantly become the god of death and end his life. His face was full of unwillingness. He opened his mouth wide and wanted to shout out loud, but he couldn't shout at all. He wanted to pull the trigger. As long as he pulled the trigger lightly, he could blow up the drunk's head. But he didn't have the strength to pull the trigger. He felt himself trapped in endless darkness and coldness. Xiao Chen pinched Lao Wu's neck, didn't let go, but supported his body and pulled out the dagger from his waist. There were 3 more bandits. He had to kill one more quietly to be sure of success. The opportunity had arrived. Lao Lu, whose arm was injured, slowly stood up from behind a stone, and there was a blind spot between him and the bearded man and the thin man. So, Xiao Chen decided that the second target was him. Swish! Xiao Chen shook his hand and shot out the dagger, and a flash of cold light passed by. Puff! Before Lao Lu could react, the dagger pierced his throat, with such force that the sharp blade went straight out of the back of his neck. Lao Lu's body shook, his eyes bulged, and he didn't understand how the dagger came until he died. Bang! A muffled sound was heard, and Lao Lu's body fell to the ground. Not good. Unexpectedly, the bearded man's intuition was too sharp, and he almost immediately sensed the abnormality and strong murderous intent. Without thinking, he aimed the AK-47 in his hand and pulled the trigger in the direction of Xiao Chen. Bang bang bang! The bullets hit Lao Wu's body, and Xiao Chen picked up the AK-47 on the ground and started to fight back. Lao Lu. The bearded man roared, his expression ferocious, and took out a grenade and threw it directly. Xiao Chen subconsciously wanted to rush out, but then he thought that if the grenade exploded, Lao Su's tomb would become a ruin. Thinking of this, Xiao Chen twisted his body to rush out, and then kicked the grenade that had already landed. Swoosh! The grenade was kicked out by Xiao Chen and turned into a parabola. Before it landed, it exploded with a bang, less than 2 seconds before and after. Xiao Chen was shocked and broke out in a cold sweat. The last bit of alcohol in his body was all evaporated, and his consciousness was completely sober. The bearded man looked at Xiao Chen's actions and frowned. What was the origin of this drunkard who was previously taken hostage by them? No matter the reaction or the speed of the kick, he felt a little dread in his heart. The death of Lao Wu and Lao Lu was not unjust. Bang bang! Then, the bearded man pulled the trigger again, and Xiao Chen rolled out. He was worried that the bullet would destroy Lao Su's tombstone. Bang! Xiao Chen also pulled the trigger decisively while moving quickly, but he did not shoot at the bearded man, but at the thin man. Pop! The thin man reacted quickly, hiding behind the tree, and then he jumped up like a monkey. For a moment, the three of them became cautious, hiding themselves, and no one moved rashly. Boy, are you from the military? Are you ambush us here? The bearded man pointed his gun at the place where Xiao Chen was hiding and asked loudly. I'm ambush your uncle. Xiao Chen was holding back a murderous intent and evil fire in his heart. Hearing the other party's words, he cursed directly. The bearded man was stunned. What was this guy's reaction? Wasn't he from the military? I found a place to drink and sleep after getting drunk, and I met you guys. Is it my bad luck or your bad luck? Xiao Chen didn't mention Lao Su's tomb because he was worried that the other party would take advantage of this. Although this tomb is dead, in his heart, it is the same as Lao Su. He doesn't allow this tomb to be destroyed. If the bearded man finds out and throws a grenade at him, he will be completely passive. The bearded man was even more dumbfounded. He came to the cemetery to drink and sleep? Was it really a coincidence? As for who was unlucky, it was hard to say now. The one who died must have been unlucky. The gunshots of the fierce battle also attracted the attention of the police outside. Han Fei frowned. Gunshots and grenades? What's going on? Could the bandits have an internal conflict because of the uneven distribution of the spoils? Team Xiao's mind was full of ideas and he couldn't help but guess impossible. I can't wait any longer. I have to go over and see what happened. Han Fei shook his head and made a decision. Go now? Captain Han, isn't it too dangerous? We have to go even if it's dangerous. We must understand what happened. Give me a bulletproof vest and a gun. I'll arrange for the armed police to go. Captain Xiao, do you think I'm a vase? Han Fei glanced at Captain Xiao, took the bulletproof vest handed over by his men, put it on quickly, and then walked forward with the gun in hand. Sniper, get back in position and protect Captain Han. If there is any abnormality, kill the target. Captain Xiao looked at Han Fei's back and gave the order. Bang! Just as Han Fei hit his figure and moved forward cautiously, the gunshots rang again. Next to the tombstone, Xiao Chen took the lead in launching the attack. The longer it dragged on, the more likely these two guys would take risks. So, strike first. He didn't forget that there were 12 high-explosive grenades buried around. Once they took risks and died together, it would be a pain in the ass. Old Third, cover me. The bearded man yelled at the place where the thin man was hiding,
then rushed out with a gun, and pulled the trigger at the same time, shortening the distance between the two.
Bang bang bang.
The gunshots continued, and Xiao Chen was suppressed again. He leaned against a big rock and checked the AK-47 in his hand. There were only 6 bullets left. However, he also guessed that the opponent's bullets should not be much.
Bang!
Xiao Chen's body shook, rushed out from behind the big rock, dodged a bullet, raised his hand and pulled the trigger.
Bang bang!
The bearded man fired, but what shocked him was that Xiao Chen seemed to know the trajectory of the bullet and always dodged it dangerously. First-class peak, or martial arts master. The bearded man's eyelids jumped, and he really met a tough guy. He knew that some first-class peaks or martial arts masters were born with keen intuition, or after some training, they could identify the trajectory of bullets and then avoid bullets in advance. Just when he was about to shoot, Xiao Chen had already arrived in front of him, with his back wide open, as if he had forgotten the thin man on the other side.
Bang!
As soon as the bearded man pulled the trigger, the gun in Xiao Chen's hand smashed over, click, the muzzle deviated, and the bullet shot into the air. The next second, Xiao Chen got close to the bearded man and punched him straight at the vital point. The bearded man retreated, with a strong fear in his eyes. He didn't expect this guy to be so fierce that he came to him when he was holding an AK-47 in his hand. Today, my brother is buried in peace, you shouldn't come to disturb him, so you all have to die. At the moment of getting close, Xiao Chen broke out in full force. He had to kill this guy as soon as possible, otherwise, he might press the detonator. The strong murderous aura, with Xiao Chen as the center, swept over and enveloped the bearded man. Kill! The bearded man had no way to avoid it, roared, and kicked Xiao Chen.
Top notch?
Xiao Chen was a little surprised. Longhai City was really a place where dragons and crouching tigers were hidden. Top-notch masters were like cabbages.
However, what could a top-notch master do? He would be killed anyway.
Not far away, the thin man aimed his gun, but he dared not pull the trigger. Because Xiao Chen and the bearded man were so fast that he couldn't aim at all. What if the boss's head was blown off with one shot? That would be a big joke. And the reason why Xiao Chen dared to ignore the thin man and fight with the bearded man in close combat was also because of this, unless the other party ignored the life and death of his companions.
Bang bang!
The two fists collided, making a low muffled sound. The bearded man was more and more shocked as the battle went on. The young man in front of him was really a martial arts master.
It's time to end.
Xiao Chen's murderous aura surged, and he kicked the bearded man in the waist. The latter screamed in pain and flew backwards. At the same time, gunshots rang out, and the thin man fired. The orange-yellow bullets spun at high speed. Xiao Chen seemed to have eyes behind his head. He stepped on strange steps and disappeared from the spot, quickly catching up with the bearded man.
Boss!
The thin man fired 2 more shots, but they missed. This made him feel cold. This guy was too powerful. He might die here today.
Bang!
Xiao Chen jumped up and kicked with his legs, like thunder, hitting the bearded man's chest.
Puff!
The bearded man could no longer bear it. His face turned pale, and he spurted out a mouthful of blood and fell heavily to the ground. You disturbed my brother's long sleep. Today, I will use your blood to sacrifice my brother's heroic soul. Xiao Chen's voice was cold and murderous. The bearded man struggled to stand up, but he felt a burst of pain in his chest. Xiao Chen kicked him several times in a row, breaking his sternum and even denting it. The broken bones also pierced his internal organs.
If you want to kill me, then die together.
The bearded man screamed fiercely, stretched out his hand to grab the detonator, and detonated 12 high-explosive bombs.
Die together?
You think too highly of yourself. Before Xiao Chen finished speaking, he came to the bearded man in front of him and chopped his arm with a palm knife crack. A crisp bone-breaking sound came out, and the bearded man screamed. His arm turned into an exaggerated V-shape, and even the white bones were exposed. Then, Xiao Chen grabbed the bearded man's left arm with both hands, and another sound, it also broke.
Ah!
The bearded man screamed miserably. He had calculated all kinds of possibilities, but the only thing he didn't expect was that Xiao Chen would appear as an accident. Now it seems that they are the ones with bad luck.
Damn it!
The thin man looked at the boss being crippled by Xiao Chen, cursed inwardly, raised the muzzle of the gun, aimed, and quickly pulled the trigger.
Bang!
Xiao Chen grabbed the bearded man's neck and blocked him in front of him. The bullet hit his chest and blood splattered.
Mm.
The bearded man spat out blood, his eyes were a little distracted, and his body was shaking violently.
Atonement.
Xiao Chen kicked the bearded man down in front of Su Yunfei's tombstone, making him kneel on the ground, facing the tombstone.
Puff.
The bearded man spat out blood again, and his blurred vision fell on the photo on the tombstone.
It was a handsome young man who was smiling at him. It's your turn.
Hearing the noise, Xiao Chen turned his head and saw the thin man running towards the cliff, trying to escape from there. The next second, he jumped out like a cheetah, and at the same time bent down and picked up the detonator that fell on the ground. This deadly thing is more reassuring to hold in his own hands. The figure of the thin man has disappeared on the edge of the cliff. He slid down like a clever monkey.
Do you think you can run away?
Xiao Chen stood on the edge of the cliff, sneering.
Bang bang bang.
The thin man raised his gun and shot at Xiao Chen on the top of the cliff, while speeding up and sliding down. However, his face changed the next second, because he found that this guy was too hateful, and he actually pulled the rope up. Soon, he had nowhere to hide and grabbed the very end of the rope. Although the cliff was not high, there were irregular rocks everywhere below, and some of the edges were sharper than knives. Coupled with the turbulent waves, if you fall down, you will die or lose a layer of skin.
Come up to me.
Xiao Chen exerted force suddenly and was about to pull the thin man up.
Bang!
The thin man fired a shot, then gritted his teeth, loosened the rope, and fell down rapidly. He understood that if he fell down, he might still have a chance of survival, but if he fell into this guy's hands, he would be dead.
Do you think you can run away? Xiao Chen said, grabbing the rope and jumping down.
Above, Han Fei walked over carefully with a gun in hand.
Why is it so quiet? Where is the person?
Suddenly, she stopped and stared at the scene in front of the tombstone with wide eyes. She was extremely shocked.
What is going on?
There were two bodies lying in a pool of blood on the ground, one with a twisted neck and the other with a dagger stuck in his neck. There was another body with deformed limbs kneeling in front of the tombstone, with his head hanging down. When the sea breeze blew, it was swaying slightly, as if it could fall down at any time.
Aren't these three bandits? Han Fei was shocked. Who killed them? Moreover, they knelt down to atone for their sins?
She looked around and saw no one.
Then she subconsciously moved her feet and walked towards the tombstone to see whose tombstone it belonged to.
Just when Han Fei was about to walk to the tombstone, a sudden noise came from the cliff.
She was startled. Is there someone below?
The next second, she pointed her gun at the cliff, and at the same time, she retreated violently and quickly hid behind a huge stone. If it were normal, she would probably rush to the edge of the cliff to see what was going on, but the scene today was too weird, which made her more careful and alert. Just as she hid, the rope on the cliff shook, and a thin man climbed up with blood all over his body. Han Fei's eyes fixed. She recognized the thin man, one of the four bandits.
What happened? He was injured? Could it be that there was an internal conflict, and he killed the other three bandits?
She slowly raised the gun, aimed at the thin man, and put her slender fingers on the trigger.
If there was anything wrong, she would shoot.
But what she didn't expect was that after the thin man climbed up the cliff, he staggered and fell to the ground, and then another person climbed up.
Who is this? Could it be? Han Fei suddenly thought of something. Is he the hostage?
Here, in addition to the four bandits, there is only one hostage left.
But the next scene made Han Fei even more confused. What's going on? Who is the hostage and who is the bandit? Bang!
Xiao Chen kicked the thin man with the AK-47 he had just seized, and cursed angrily, "Don't play dead for me." The thin man rolled on the ground for a few times, endured the pain and got up, then looked at Xiao Chen, his voice trembling. "What do you want to do?"
What?
"Use your blood to atone for your sins and commemorate my brother," Xiao Chen said, grabbing the thin man's collar and dragging him towards the tombstone. "No.
Let me go, don't."
The thin man struggled violently, but couldn't break free. The difference in strength between the two sides was too great.
Han Fei looked at this scene with wide eyes. What was going on?
However, out of instinct, she still aimed the gun at Xiao Chen, intending to shoot decisively if the situation was not right. Xiao Chen, who was dragging the thin man forward, paused, glanced at the big rock where Han Fei was hiding, and squinted his eyes.
"Let me go."
The thin man was still struggling, his face full of despair. "Not dead yet?" Xiao Chen ignored the man hiding behind the big rock, because he didn't feel the killing intent. He came to the tombstone and looked at the bearded man kneeling on the ground, a little surprised. This guy's vitality is really strong. The bearded man's body trembled slightly, and a weak sound came out of his mouth, and his consciousness gradually blurred.
Everything is the last instinct of life. Since you are not dead, I will send you off again. After Xiao Chen finished speaking, he raised the AK-47 in his hand, aimed at the back of the bearded man's head, and pulled the trigger. Bang! The gunshot rang out.
At such a close distance, the power of AK-47 is absolutely terrifying. The orange-yellow bullet shot into the bearded man's head, and the huge force directly shattered his head, and even the skull was broken into several pieces and flew out. The white slurry, accompanied by red blood, sprayed on the ground, and even splashed on the thin man next to him. Bloody! Ah! The thin man looked at the bearded man, who fell to the ground and screamed in fear. In his eyes, the bearded man was extremely powerful. But now, the extremely powerful boss was shot in the head in front of him. The bloody scene still had a very strong impact on him. Hanifei, who was behind the big rock, also trembled and was shocked by the bloody scene. At this time, Xiao Chen was no longer as playful as before, but more like a cold-blooded executioner. He killed the bearded man without blinking, then turned the gun and aimed at the thin man's head.
It's your turn, Xiao Chen said lightly.
These 4 bandits killed many people and their hands were covered with blood, so they deserve to die. No, don't kill me. I'll give you money. I'll give you all the money and gold we robbed. Don't kill me.
The thin man shouted loudly, his face full of fear. I don't want it. Goodbye,
Xiao Chen said coldly, and was about to pull the trigger.
Stop, don't kill him.
Hanifei, who was behind the big rock, finally woke up from the shock and jumped out without thinking, pointing the gun in her hand at Xiao Chen's back. Xiao Chen turned his head and looked. When his eyes fell on Hanifei, there was a flash of surprise in his eyes. It turned out that there was a woman hiding behind her, and such a beautiful woman. She had delicate features and fair skin. She was different from the beauty of ordinary beauties, with a bit of heroic spirit. As for her figure, well, she was wearing a bulletproof vest and her chest was flat, so I couldn't really tell what she looked like. However, according to Xiao Chen's experience, this girl's figure is absolutely hot. Just looking at those 2 round and slender long legs, men can play with her for half a year.
What a heroic policewoman. I'm a policeman, put your gun down.
Hanifei pointed a gun at Xiao Chen, not daring to be careless. The bloody scene just now really shocked her.
Heh, what did you police do just now?
Xiao Chen's originally cold face showed a hint of playfulness, and he asked lightly.
Just now.
Just now the bandits had hostages in their hands, and we dared not act rashly.
Hanifei opened his mouth and said, I am the hostage you mentioned. Although Hanifei had already guessed, she was still shocked when she heard Xiao Chen admit his identity.
Who is this guy? They also bury 12 high-explosive bombs nearby.
Are you talking about this?
Xiao Chen said, raising the detonator in his hand. Hanifei's eyes shrank, and his hand holding the gun tightened. You throw this thing to me.
Too dangerous.
Hee, I think it's safer to hold something that endangers my life in my hands. Xiao Chen said, and the muzzle of the gun pointed at the thin man's head. What if I must kill him? The thin man was relieved when he saw the police appear, but now he heard this, his heart was lifted again.
You can't kill him.
I think he deserves to die.
If you don't let me kill him, give me a reason.
He deserves to die, but not at your hands.
If you kill him, you will become a murderer,
Hanifei said loudly.
Heh, I have killed 3 people.
This.
Hanifei opened her mouth and said that he was acting in self-defense? But based on this scene, who would believe that it was self-defense? No one would believe it.
Besides, she just saw with her own eyes that Xiao Chen shot the bearded man who had no threat at all, so there was no such thing as self-defense, not even excessive defense, but intentional homicide. She wanted to trick Xiao Chen and let him put down the detonator and gun first, but she couldn't say this trick. Why? Is there nothing to say?
Then I will kill him.
As Xiao Chen said this, the finger pulling the trigger slowly tightened. The thin man was shaking, cold sweat dripping down his face, and he could clearly hear the sound of the spring being pulled.
No, I don't want to shoot you.
He is more useful alive than dead, and the whereabouts of the stolen money and gold are unknown. As soon as Hanifei finished speaking, another sharp break sound was heard, and a large number of police cars arrived, and snipers, armed police, and special police all began to move forward.
Put down the gun, I will help you.
Han Yifei advised again, and the sound of helicopter propellers was heard, and the armed helicopter also arrived. At the same time, all the snipers were in place, aiming their guns at Xiao Chun, ready to shoot at any time. As soon as the sniper took his position, Xiao Chun felt it.
He glanced around and touched the button on the detonator. What? You policemen are afraid of these 4 gangsters detonating, but you are not afraid of me detonating it? Don't be impulsive. I promise, you will be fine. Moreover, you stopped the gangsters from escaping. Not only will you not make mistakes, but you will also be meritorious.
Han Yifei looked at Xiao Chen's actions, her heart tightened, and she said hurriedly.
Don't be nervous.
I can let me not kill him, but I can escape the death penalty, but I can't escape the living crime. After Xiao Chen finished speaking, he ignored the snipers around him, lowered the muzzle of the gun, and pulled the trigger continuously.
Bang bang. 2 gunshots, the thin man let out a miserable cry, his 2 legs were broken. Don't shoot. Han Yifei controlled the urge to shoot, and shouted loudly into the wireless headset at the same time.
After Xiao Chen disabled the thin man's 2 legs, he smiled at Han Yifei and threw the detonator on the ground.
Don't move, raise your hands.
When Xiao Chen just threw away the detonator, a large number of armed police and special police rushed out, all pointing their guns at Xiao Chen.
Captain Xiao, let the bomb disposal experts dismantle the bomb immediately. Han Yifei looked at the detonator under Xiao Chen's feet and said to Captain Xiao. Okay.
Captain Xiao nodded, turned around and was about to leave, only to see the police separate, and a man in his 30s walked over quickly. Captain Feng. Captain Xiao saw the man and stepped forward to greet him. Well, where are the 4 gangsters?
3 are dead, 1 is disabled. Didn't you say there is a hostage? Is it safe? The man looked at Han Yifei. The hostage is there. Han Yifei looked a little weird, pointing at Xiao Chun, who was surrounded by the special police.
The man turned his head and looked, and when he saw Xiao Chun surrounded by the special police, he was stunned at first, and then his eyes widened.
Xiao Chen?
When Captain Feng saw the man surrounded by the SWAT clearly, he cried out in surprise, as if he couldn't believe it. Hearing this voice, Xiao Chen also moved his eyes away from the guns in the hands of the surrounding SWAT. When he looked up and saw Captain Feng, he was also a little surprised, but soon smiled. Old Feng, I didn't expect to see you here.
Is it really you? Put down your guns.
Feng finally confirmed it, shouted loudly, and then stepped forward quickly. The SWATs put away their guns after hearing the order, while Han Yifei, Captain Xiao and others were surprised.
Captain Feng knew this hostage?
Feng pushed aside the 2 SWATs in front of him, came to Xiao Chun, and looked him up and down. I didn't expect to see you here.
If you came a little later, I guess I would be shot down by them.
Xiao Chun said, threw away the AK-47 in his hand, and opened his arms.
Who dares to shoot?
Captain Feng said loudly, and then he, who was always steady in front of his men, hugged Xiao Chun. His eyes were a little red.
Han Yifei looked at the scene in front of her with some surprise. Who is this guy? How could he make Feng Guangwen lose his composure like this?
We haven't seen each other for 3 or 4 years, right?
Xiao Chen hugged Feng Guangwen and said with a smile, yes, back then.
Captain Feng, can you stop reminiscing about the past?
Han Yifei couldn't bear it anymore.
This is not a coffee shop. Why are these 2 still chatting?
Feng Guangwen was stunned, and then patted his forehead. He was so excited. Xiao Chen, what's going on? Why are you here?
Tell me quickly, I'm here, it's okay.
Feng Guangwen looked at the 3 bodies in the pool of blood and asked in a deep voice.
Today is the day my brother is buried. Xiao Chen hesitated, stepped aside, and pointed to the white tombstone behind him. Feng Guangwen was stunned, his eyes fell on the tombstone. When he saw the name on it clearly, a strange color flashed in the depths of his eyes. Su Yunfei?
How did he?
He used his life to exchange for my life. Xiao Chen did not say much about the details, nor was it appropriate to say it, but simply said this sentence. He believed that this sentence alone was enough. Today is the day when old Su was buried in peace, but they come to disturb.
Do you think they deserve to die?
Xiao Chen pointed at the corpse in the pool of blood and the thin man and asked.
Deserve to die?
Feng Guangwen looked at the photo on the tombstone and nodded slowly. He could understand Xiao Chen's feelings. If it is not useful to keep him alive, he must die. Xiao Chen pointed at the thin man again, and the murderous intent flashed.
Xiao Chen, leave it to me, he will pay the price and get the punishment he deserves.
As soon as Feng Guangwen finished speaking, an armed helicopter that was originally hovering on the top quickly pulled down, and then a rope was thrown down from above. Seeing the action of the armed helicopter, Feng Guangwen and others were all shocked.
Did they discover some enemy situation again? Otherwise, why would there be such a reaction? People from Longhai Garrison? Xiao Chen looked up and asked lightly. Yes, people from the Blue Sword Special Operations Team.
If they hadn't been on duty for an emergency mission today, they should have arrived long ago. Hearing that it was the Blue Sword Special Operations Team, Xiao Chen's eyes flashed with a strange color. The Blue Sword Special Operations Team was the sharpest knife in the Longhai Garrison.
Even if it was placed in the entire Chinese military, it should be ranked in the top 10. While talking, 7 or 8 fully armed Special Operations Team members slid down the rope. Is it him? Feng Guangwen looked at the first person and his eyelids jumped. This guy is a thorn.
Walking in front was a young man of 24 or 25 years old, with the rank of lieutenant colonel on his shoulders, his face full of arrogance, and a strong domineering aura all over his body.
Get out of the way.
The young man pushed aside the 2 armed policemen blocking him and ran straight to where Feng Guangwen was.
This posture made Feng Guangwen, Han Fei and others frown. What's the matter? Do you want to steal the credit? Captain Long, what are you doing? Feng Guangwen looked at the young man and asked in a deep voice.
Who would have thought that the young man ignored Feng Guangwen directly, but his eyes fell on Xiao Chen's face behind him, and his expression was excited. Brother Chen?
Ah, it's really you.
Xiao Chen looked at the young man and grinned.
Another acquaintance.
He really didn't expect that he could meet 2 acquaintances in a row today, and they hadn't seen each other for a long time.
Brother Chen, I miss you so much. The young man opened his arms and hugged Xiao Chen tightly. Is it that serious? I'm not a beauty,
Xiao Chen said unhappily, but his heart was warm, and he patted the young man on the back. How can a beautiful woman be as attractive as Brother Chen? The young man also grinned when he heard Xiao Chen's words. Next to him, Feng Guangwen was also a little surprised when he saw the scene in front of him.
Xiao Chen and Long Zhan knew each other? Brother Chen, what's going on?
After a brief reminiscence, Long Zhan looked at the situation around him and frowned.
Old Su is dead.
Xiao Chen hesitated, pointed to the white tombstone behind him, and said slowly.
Old Su? Dead? Long Zhan was stunned and looked in the direction of Xiao Chen's finger. When he saw the name on the tombstone, his body trembled suddenly. Fei, how did Brother Fei die?
Long Zhan widened his eyes turned red, and he shouted in disbelief.
He died abroad to save me. No, he was so strong, how could he die? Who killed him? Which bastard killed him?
Long Zhan became more excited, clenched his fists, and was full of murderous aura. Next to him, more than 20 special warfare members who came one after another changed their faces when they saw Long Zhan's reaction. This was a manifestation of the real rage and murderous intent of the Dragon Team. Last time, a group of thugs in western China massacred a village, from the old to the young, leaving no one alive. At that time, it was Long Zhan who was on a mission. He took the Blue Sword Special Operations Team to that village. Seeing the tragic scene, he was extremely furious and murderous. On the second day, he wiped out the gang of thugs. Even when the other party laid down their weapons and stopped resisting, he still massacred 79 of them, and blood flowed like a river. Afterwards, this incident shocked the court military. If it weren't for Long Zhan's outstanding military exploits and the awesome old man at home, it would probably be over. Although this matter was blocked and few people knew about it, the Blue Sword Special Operations members who participated in it knew it clearly. They still clearly remembered the bloody scene where Long Zhan chopped the leader of the gang into 4 pieces with 3 consecutive knives. I don't know the other party's origins, but blood debts must be paid with blood. I must use their blood to commemorate Lao Su. A murderous aura that was stronger and more terrifying than Long Zhan burst out from Xiao Chen and swept the whole place, but it disappeared in the blink of an eye. Everyone in the audience looked at Xiao Chen in shock. Such a terrifying murderous aura. Especially the members of the Blue Sword Special Forces, their faces changed, and then they shook their heads. Could the person that Team Long had to call brother be an ordinary person? Han Fei also took a deep look at Xiao Chen. Who is this guy? She is getting more and more curious now. Long Zhan, go and burn incense for Lao Su.
Xiao Chen restrained his murderous aura, patted Long Zhan's shoulder, and said in a low voice, Lao Su must be very happy that you can come.
Long Zhan was patted by Xiao Chen, and his body trembled. His red eyes gradually returned to normal, and his murderous aura dissipated.
He nodded slowly, lit 3 sticks of incense, and inserted them in front of the tombstone, then picked up the remaining half bottle of wine from Xiao Chen, poured some on the ground, and drank the rest with his head tilted back. Brother Fei, I'm here to see you off.
After saying that, Long Zhan turned around and took the gun from his man, pointed it at the sky, and pulled the trigger.
Bang, bang, bang.
The crisp sound of gunfire made many people at the scene shudder.
What was this for? However, the next scene shocked them all.
All the members of the Blue Sword Special Forces stood behind Long Zhan, stood at attention, saluted, and then raised their guns solemnly and pulled the trigger. Although they didn't know the person buried in this tomb, it can be seen from the performance of Team Long that this was a soldier, and a strong man worthy of admiration. Soldiers should have a military way of seeing off. Team Long treated them with the highest treatment, so they deserve to be treated like this.
The deafening sound of gunfire shocked everyone at the scene. Even Xiao Chen's eyes turned red when he heard the deafening gunshots.
Lao Su, I thought you could go quietly.
Now it seems that you can't go quietly. However, compared to quiet, I think you prefer the current scene, right? You are a guy who likes excitement.
Xiao Chen smiled, looked at the photo on the tombstone, slowly stood at attention, and saluted with an extremely standard military salute. Beside him, Feng Guangwen and others also stood up straight, also looking at the tombstone and saluting. The gunshots disappeared, the scene became extremely quiet, and all the policemen saluted spontaneously, which was particularly solemn.
Lao Su, have a good journey.
Xiao Chen slowly put down his hand, tears rolling down from the corners of his eyes.
Men don't shed tears easily, just because they haven't reached the point of sadness. Brother Fei, you saved my life back then.
I swear, even if I take off this military uniform, I will accompany Brother Chen to avenge you. Long Zhan lowered his hand holding the gun, his voice serious and earnest.
Long Zhan, I will avenge Lao Su. You don't have to get involved.
Xiao Chen looked at Long Zhan and said in a deep voice. Brother Chen, if you and Brother Fei hadn't saved me many times, the grass on my grave would be very tall now.
He's dead now, I just want to avenge him, give me a chance, okay?
Hearing what Long Zhan said, Xiao Chen hesitated and nodded, okay, I'll find you if I need you.
Yeah.
Long Zhan nodded, then glanced at the body in the pool of blood. Brother Chen, what's going on?
Xiao Chen said a few simple words, and Long Zhan's murderous intent resurfaced.
He turned and walked towards the thin man. Without waiting for others to react, he pulled out his gun and quickly pulled the trigger.
Bang bang. Gunshots rang out, screams rang out.
If your life is not useful, I'll use your head to sacrifice Brother Fei. Long Zhan shot 2 shots and disabled the thin man's 2 arms. The sudden change shocked the scene again. Except for Xiao Chen, no one thought that Long Zhan would suddenly take action and cripple the thin man again. Looking at the thin man lying in a pool of blood, dying, Han Fei raised her eyebrows and shouted, Long Zhan, what are you doing?
Do what I want to do.
Long Zhan glanced at Han Fei and threw the gun in his hand to his men. This guy, our military wants it.
Why? Han Fei's face turned cold, and even Feng Guangwen, Captain Xiao and others frowned. Were these 4 gangsters shot and arrested by your police?
Long Zhan pointed at the bodies on the ground. Hearing Long Zhan's words, Han Fei and others looked a little unnatural, but still said in a deep voice, even if it wasn't our police who shot and arrested them, we took over first.
If it wasn't you who shot and arrested them, then it belongs to our military.
Long Zhan was very domineering. He swept his eyes over the thin man, and the murderous intent flashed across his mind.
2 shots were too easy for him. He had to let this guy enjoy the punishment. Long Zhan, you are too unreasonable, aren't you?
Then they weren't shot and arrested by your military, were they?
Humph, everything is over, you just arrived, and you still have the nerve to ask for people? Han Fei didn't give in, and even sneered.
What did you say?
You deserve a beating again, right?
Long Zhan frowned and glared at Han Fei when he heard this.
It's not certain who will beat whom.
Han Fei tore off his bulletproof vest, stepped forward, held his head high, confronted Long Zhan, and exuded a bit of fighting spirit. Next to him, Xiao Chen glanced at Han Fei's chest.
Well, his guess was true. This girl has a great figure and big breasts. She is the best. In addition, through the conversation between the two, it can be heard that the two are old acquaintances. Damn it, if it weren't for your old man, I would definitely beat you into a pig's head. Long Zhun cursed. Bang! Hearing this, Han Yifei directly took action.
No, kicked, raised her right leg high, and kicked towards Long Zhan's abdomen with her long leg.
Han Yifei, you dare to fight me?
Long Zhan retreated violently, avoiding Han Yifei's powerful attack, and said angrily,
Stop talking nonsense, let's fight first and see who can beat who into a pig's head.
Han Yifei said, and jumped up, kicking Long Zhan with two long legs in turn, while the latter kept retreating. Han Yifei, I won't argue with you. Long Zhan saw that Han Yifei was really angry, and he retreated faster.
Captain Han, stop it. Feng Guangwen spoke up and stopped the angry Han Yifei.
Captain Long, this major case is being closely watched by the higher-ups.
No matter who has the case, it must be reported in full.
We will not erase the military's credit.
Credit?
I have too many military medals, and I feel overwhelmed. One more or one less won't be too much. If anyone dares to disturb Brother Fei's burial, I will make him wish he could neither live nor die. Long Zhan said coldly with disdain.
Pa!
Xiao Chen slapped Long Zhan on the back of his head.
It's been a long time since I last saw him. How can this guy brag more than before? Too many military medals, and he feels overwhelmed? Fuck, this guy is so pretentious.
Long Zhan was slapped and was about to lose his temper, but when he saw that it was Xiao Chen, he covered his head and said aggrievedly, Brother Chen, why did you hit me?
Don't talk nonsense, don't worry about this matter, hand him over to the police. Oh, okay, let this kid go for now.
Long Zhan nodded when he saw Xiao Chen said so. Seeing this scene, Han Yifei and the members of Blue Sword were very surprised.
Long Zhan was slapped, but he didn't lose his temper, and he actually obeyed his orders? You know, this guy is notorious outside, who dares to hit his head? He is a devil in the world, even his father who carries the rank of lieutenant general on his shoulders can't do anything about him, which is a headache. Because this guy often slams the table and glares at his father. Once, his father was really angry and even pulled out his gun, saying that he would shoot this son of a bitch. In that situation, this guy still refused to admit defeat, and yelled at his father with his neck stiff, saying that if you don't kill me, then you are a son of a bitch. As a result, this word reached his father's ears, and he almost fainted with anger. Son of a bitch? Didn't he even curse him? How could it not be surprising that such a devil didn't lose his temper after being slapped in the face? Also, Captain Feng was my former squad leader. Xiao Chen pointed at Feng Guangwen again. Long Zhan was stunned. He and Feng Guangwen also knew each other, but they were not very close. He didn't expect that there was such a relationship. Ha, Captain Long, I didn't expect that we had this relationship. Feng Guangwen smiled at Long Zhan, and at the same time made a hidden gesture to Captain Xiao, indicating that he should take the thin man away quickly, otherwise. Who knows if Long Zhan will shoot again? After a brief chat, Feng Guangwen looked at Xiao Chen, come back to the police station with us, this matter involves too much. Several bigwigs above are watching, and even know. One has said a few words. Okay. Xiao Chen nodded and looked at the time, but we have to hurry up. Okay, let's go now. Brother Chen, I'll go to the police station with you. Long Zhan said, he was a little worried. Xiao Chen patted Long Zhan's shoulder and nodded with a smile, okay. The helicopter hovering in the air left, and the police began to retreat. 3 gangsters died and 1 was disabled. This case that shocked the government and the public has come to an end for the time being. Xiao Chen and Long Zhan stood in front of the tombstone, silent for a long time, bent down, bowed, and then left. Brother Chen, I'll take your car. Long Zhan got on the Maserati and sniffed, is this a woman's car? It's the car of Lao Su's sister. Her name is Su Qing. She is the president of Qingcheng Company. She has encountered some troubles recently. When Lao Su was dying, he asked me to help her solve the troubles. In front of Long Zhan, Xiao Chen did not hide anything and simply told the matter again. After listening, Long Zhan's expression was a little gloomy. Brother Chen, if you need anything, just call me. Yeah. Can you tell me what happened? How could Lao Su's tomb be placed in Longhai? Shouldn't it be? Hearing this, Xiao Chen sighed. Yes, if it is normal, Lao Su's tomb should not be in Longhai, but in a specific martyr's cemetery, but in the eyes of soldiers, this honor is far more important than life. Lao Su did not die because of the mission, but accompanied me to a foreign country for something and encountered a mysterious enemy.
Xiao Chen's eyes swept over the bone ring on his left hand, and picked out what he could say and told Long John.
So that's how it is.
Long John nodded slowly after listening.
Do you think Lao Su will blame me? Xiao Chen asked. He had asked Xiao Dao the same question in the morning. No, I know Brother Fei. If it happens again, he will make the same choice.
Long John shook his head, his tone low and serious. Although life is important, honor is important, but brotherhood is more important. Xiao Chen was silent for a long time, took out a cigarette, threw one to Long John, lit it, and said nothing more. When he came to the police station, he went directly to the recording room. Feng Guangwen and Han Yifei personally recorded Xiao Chen's statement, and Xiao Chen had nothing to hide, so he told the whole story from beginning to end. When Han Yifei heard that Xiao Chen was drunk and was taken hostage, he couldn't help shaking his head. The luck of these four gangsters was really bad. They thought they had captured a hostage, but they met the god of death. Because of the relationship between Feng Guangwen and Long John, everything became much simpler.
Xiao Chen killed 3 gangsters, which became legitimate defense.
As long as they don't pursue the specific details, the people above won't pursue them either. All they want to see is a result.
However, before leaving, Xiao Chen specifically looked for Feng Guangwen.
Old Feng, when reporting to the higher-ups, don't mention my name.
Just say I'm a retired soldier. Feng Guangwen was stunned. Why?
Keep a low profile, it's good.
Xiao Chen smiled and patted Feng Guangwen on the shoulder. Okay, I'll make arrangements.
Feng Guangwen saw that Xiao Chen seemed to have something to hide, so he didn't ask any more questions and nodded.
Well, I'll go first.
Xiao Chen nodded and joked, now that I know you are in Longhai police station, I can be arrogant in the future.
We have someone in the police station. You kid. Do you have anything to do tonight? Let's get together. Okay. Call Long John.
Well, I'll tell him later.
Okay, call him. Xiao Chen came outside and said something to Long John, who nodded happily. Brother Chen, what are you going to do later? I'll accompany you. Get out, you're not a woman, why do I need you to accompany me?
I have to pick up Su Qing from get off work.
Okay, then I'll stay in the police station and go with Feng Guangwen. Well.
Xiao Chen thought of something and looked at Long John with a strange look. You're staying here, aren't you, to pick up girls?
Pick up girls? Where are there any girls for me to pick up?
Long John was a little surprised.
That Han Yifei. Who? Han Yifei? Damn, Brother Chen, please let me go.
Even if all the women in the world died, I would not wait to pick her up.
She is so damn strong.
Long John shook his head vigorously and shouted exaggeratedly.
Is it that exaggerated?
Xiao Chen glanced behind Long John, and his voice was a little strange.
Brother Chen, I am really not exaggerating.
I tell you, this girl used to be the queen of female soldiers. In the military competition, she was among the top 3. Long John said blah blah, and Xiao Chen's expression became more and more strange.
Brother Chen, what's the expression on your face? Are you scared?
Finally, Long John noticed Xiao Chen's strange expression.
Nothing, well, I'm leaving first, you. Take care.
Xiao Chen said, turned around and left. Long John looked at Xiao Chen's back and scratched his head.
What's wrong with Brother Chen? Take care? What does it mean?
Before he could figure it out, he suddenly felt a chill. He subconsciously turned his head to look behind him, then widened his eyes and ran away.
Long John, you fucking stop right there.
Han Yifei's pretty face was very dark, and her right leg kicked towards Long John, mixed with a sharp gust of wind. I'd be a fool to fucking stop. Long John ran faster, gritting his teeth as he ran. Brother Chen, you fucking hurt me so badly. On the way back, Xiao Chen listened to soothing music and gradually relaxed. He had already done one of the 2 things he had to do in Longhai, and now all that was left was to help Su Qing solve the problem. Especially meeting 2 old friends today made his depressed mood better.
No matter what, the living must continue to live, and live well. Otherwise, Su Yunfei would have died in vain.
After returning to the company, Xiao Chen parked the car in the parking lot, went to the security department first, and after making sure that there was nothing unusual in the company today, he walked towards the assistant's office.
Brother Chen. You are finally back, I missed you so much.
When Li Hanho came to the assistant's office, he saw Xiao Chen, his mouth shrank, and he almost cried. Xiao Chen was shocked when he saw this.
What happened? Brother Chen. If you don't come back, you may not see me anymore. Xiao Chen looked at Li Hanho's pitiful appearance, his expression became strange. Could it be?
He subconsciously moved his eyes down to a certain position.
Hey, Xiao Chen, what's with your eyes?
Xi Lan noticed Xiao Chen's gaze, rolled her eyes, and said, "Hey, Sister Lan, what did you do to Dahan? You wouldn't really give him." Xiao Chen coughed dryly and retracted his gaze.
Am I that hungry?
Xi Lan rolled her eyes at Xiao Chen again, and said unhappily, "I didn't do anything to him. If you don't believe me, ask him yourself."
Dahan, are you still a virgin?
Xiao Chen turned his head and asked Li Hanho.
I am.
Li Hanho nodded, opened his mouth to say something else, but glanced at Xi Lan and didn't dare to say it.
What do you want to say? Xiao Chen looked at Li Hanho's hesitation and couldn't help asking. Ahem.
Xi Lan coughed, and Li Hanho shook his head quickly. Nothing, I don't want to say anything.
This scene made Xiao Chen even more confused. What was going on? However, he didn't ask much, and asked after he left. Sister Lan, did Dahan cause you any trouble today?
Xiao Chen suppressed his curiosity, sat opposite Xi Lan, lit a cigarette, and asked with a smile, "No, I like this big guy."
Xi Lan chuckled. What about you? Are you done? Yeah, I'm done. Xiao Chen nodded. I just went to Mr. Su next door. Why is he not here? I went to the laboratory.
Oh. After smoking a cigarette, Xiao Chen stood up. Sister Lan, it's almost time to get off work, I won't bother you.
Okay, I'm ready to get off work too.
Xi Lan nodded, she knew why Xiao Chen was in a hurry to leave.
Then goodbye, Sister Lan.
Xiao Chen said, turning his head and glaring at Li Hanho. Dahan, how can you be so rude? Say goodbye to Sister Lan.
Goodbye, Sister Lan.
Li Hanho hurriedly forced out an ugly smile, then pulled Xiao Chen with his hand and whispered, "Brother, let's go quickly." Xiao Chen was speechless. Is it that serious? What happened that made this burly man like King Kong afraid of Qin Lan so much? Behind the desk, Qin Lan looked at the closed office door. The smile on her face disappeared, revealing a hint of doubt. What on earth did this guy go to do today?
Why does he smell bloody? In addition to the smell of blood, there is also the smell of gunpowder after leaving the office. Xiao Chen couldn't help asking, Dahan, what happened today? No, nothing. Li Hanho's eyes were a little evasive. Really nothing? Xiao Chen didn't believe it. This guy's reaction was too abnormal.
Well, Brother Chen, stay away from that woman in the future, she's too scary.
Li Hanho turned around twice and said this.
Xiao Chen rolled his eyes wildly.
What the hell happened? How did this guy become like this? You know, this guy is fearless.
Even if he encounters a black bear in the forest, he still wins the battle without any fear.
But how could he be so cowardly in front of Qin Lan? Damn, Dahan, why are you so afraid of Qin Lan? Is she scarier than a black bear? Xiao Chen was a little angry. This woman is much scarier than a black bear.
I would rather fight a black bear than provoke her. Li Hanho scratched his head and said seriously.
Xiao Chen was completely out of temper. Then can you tell me why she is so scary?
I dare not, she made me swear and not let me say more.
If I say it, then. God bless you? Car accident?
No, she said that if I say it, then Brother Chen will become an impotent man.
Although I have little education, I also understand what it means.
Li Hanho grinned and looked at Xiao Chen with a look of I care about you very much.
Xiao Chen was dumbfounded. Damn, is there such a vow? This is too vicious, right? Also, what the hell does this have to do with me? She swore with herself? Fuck. Brother Chen, are you sure? Let me say it? Li Hanho asked beside him. Say it. Xiao Chen sneered, laughing to death. With my fighting power that is considered abnormal for an hour, will I become an impotent man? How is it possible?
Oh, that woman also said that there is a God above us, and the oath we made will come true sooner or later. It's not that we won't take revenge, it's just that the time has not come yet. Li Hanho said again. Wait. Forget it, let's not talk about it. Actually, I'm not that curious, I'm just worried that you'll suffer. Xiao Chen felt a little disappointed and patted Li Hanho's shoulder. I'm relieved that you're fine. Oh, Brother Chen, I'm serious, stay away from that woman in the future, it's too dangerous. Okay, I get it. Xiao Chen nodded casually. Dahan, your work is over today.
There's a dinner party tonight, do you want to go?
Li Hanho thought about it and shook his head. I won't go, I haven't seen my mother for a day, I'll accompany her tonight.
Xiao Chen nodded. Well, okay, wait until tomorrow to be discharged from the hospital, then I'll take you to the villa.
Oh. Then take the subway back.
Okay, Brother Chen, goodbye. Li Hanho nodded and walked out. Xiao Chen looked at Li Hanho's back and shook his head. What did Qin Lan do to him that made him like this?
After get off work, Xiao Chen sent Su Cheng and Su Xiaoming home, and then drove to the place where he had agreed to meet Feng Guangwen.
When he was about to arrive, a bell rang. Hello, Xiao Dao. Brother Chen, are you back? Are you okay? Yes, I'm back, nothing's wrong. Xiao Chen hesitated and didn't tell Xiao Dao about the dinner tonight. They were not the same kind of people. Okay, call me anytime if you have anything. Okay.
After chatting briefly for a few more sentences, the two hung up the phone. A few minutes later, the Maserati stopped at the door of a restaurant, and Feng Wanguang and Long Zhan arrived almost at the same time.
Brother Chen, you killed me.
When Long Zhan saw Xiao Chen, he started yelling. There was a bruise next to his eye socket, and he looked a little embarrassed.
Hey, Long Zhan, what's wrong with you?
Xiao Chen looked at the bruise on Long Zhan's eye socket, smiled secretly in his heart, and asked deliberately.
At the same time, he was secretly surprised in his heart. Hanifei, that girl is so strong? How could he beat Long Zhan like this?
He didn't think that Long Zhan deliberately let Hanifei go. This guy is not a man who is kind to women.
It's because you tricked me. Hanifei went there, but you didn't say anything and deliberately led me to say that.
Long Zhan said with a bitter face.
You weren't beaten by her, were you? Xiao Chen pretended to be surprised. Long Zhan, you were beaten like this by a woman?
Beside him, Feng Guangwen laughed secretly. He knew clearly how strong Hanifei was.
I don't like to be the same as her, otherwise, I would have beaten her into a pig's head a long time ago.
Long Zhan's old face turned red, and he was a little embarrassed, and said with his neck stiff.
He.
Feng Guangwen couldn't help laughing when he heard Long Zhan's words and thought of the scene of him being chased by Hanifei all over the police station.
Oh, so you are kind to women, he. I understand. Xiao Chen also smiled and nodded. Really?
That girl is pretty good, but if we really fight, she is no match for me.
But if I beat her, I guess I will be put in solitary confinement again.
Long Zhan shrugged his head and said, but he was a little unconfident.
Okay, stop talking nonsense, let's go in.
Xiao Chen was annoyed. A grown man was beaten like this by a little girl. It's really embarrassing for me. Brother Chen, if you say so, then I will beat her into a pig's head next time. Long Zhan raised his head and said loudly, if you really beat a little girl into a pig's head, it will be even more embarrassing for me.
A grown man, what's the ability to beat a woman? It's really embarrassing for me.
Xiao Chen said with contempt.
Long Zhan was stunned in place. Damn, whether to fight or not, how come you have the final say? It's embarrassing to fight, and it's also embarrassing not to fight? Long Zhan, let's go and have a drink. Feng Guangwen patted Long Zhan's shoulder and walked inside with a big laugh. Alas, why is it so hard to be a man?
Long Zhan sighed, shook his head, and followed him in.
The three of them asked for a private room, then ordered a few signature dishes, and then asked for a few bottles of Mao Tai. 3 people, 4 pairs of chopsticks, 4 cups, and a seat for Su Yunfei.
Come on, the first glass of wine, toast to old Su first. Xiao Chen picked up the wine glass, stood up, and said in a deep voice. Long Zhan's eyes were also a little red, and he nodded, the first glass of wine, toast to Brother Fei.
Feng Guangwen also stood up and looked at the empty seat.
Although the two had never met, he had such a close relationship with Xiao Chen and Long Zhan, so he must be a good person, and he is definitely a person worth making friends with. The first glass of wine, toast to comrades.
Feng Guangwen said solemnly. In the Chinese military, everyone is a comrade. All of us are brothers.
The 3 of them clinked their glasses, then slowly poured out half of the wine in the glasses, and drank the rest in one gulp. 1 word of comrade, 1 word of brother, enough. In the early morning, the sun shone into the room, and Xiao Chen opened his eyes. Xiao Chen rubbed his head, it hurt a little.
Yesterday, he drank too much.
He drank several bottles of Red Star Erguo alone in the cemetery, and last night the 3 of them drank 6 bottles of Mutai before leaving. Although he has a great alcohol tolerance, he can't stand such drinking, not to mention that he is in a bad mood and is easy to get drunk. After lying in bed for a while, Xiao Chen got up, washed up, and then came to the living room. I saw Su Qing was busy in the kitchen, and there were several breakfasts on the table.
Good morning.
Su Cheng saw Xiao Chen got up and greeted him with a smile.
Well, good morning. I drank a little too much last night, and I couldn't get up this morning. You were in a bad mood yesterday? You drank so much.
Nothing, the day was a bit special, and I got together with 2 friends. Xiao Chen felt empty in his heart and smiled and shook his head.
Oh, let's get ready for breakfast.
Okay.
As the two were talking, Su Xiaoming came down from the building. Brother Chen, good morning.
Yeah, good morning.
Xiao Chen nodded, and then found that Su Xiaoming was secretly waving at him. What's wrong, Xiaoming? Xiao Chen went over and asked in confusion.
Yesterday I saw Brother Snake outside the school.
Brother Snake? What was he doing?
Nothing, maybe he was just strolling around there, and we happened to meet, and then we chatted. He said that he would protect me in the future. In addition, he asked me to help him give you his regards, and said that this was the intention of his boss, Grandpa Xing. When Xiao Chen heard this, he understood that Huang Xing was trying to show his goodwill to him. Besides, Bald Snake didn't just stroll around No One Middle School, he was probably waiting for Xiaoming on purpose. Otherwise, with his status, why would he go to the school to stroll around when he had nothing to do?
Well, I know.
Xiao Chen nodded, but then stared at Su Xiaoming. Hey, that's not right, you are not staying in school, what are you doing outside the school?
I just went out to eat at noon.
Really? Of course it's true, why would I lie to you? Oh, don't go out if you have nothing to do recently, after all, someone is watching your sister.
I know, it's okay. What are you two talking about? Why are you still sneaking around? Su Qing came out of the kitchen. Nothing. Su Xiaoming shook her head and winked at Xiao Chen. Do you have any bad ideas?
Su Qing stared at her younger sister and said suspiciously.
How could that be? Am I the kind of person who has bad ideas? Su Xiaoming said, pretending to be wronged. Yes. Su Qing nodded, decisively.
Su Xiaoming opened her mouth, spread her hands, and said helplessly, I can't respond to this, I feel like the boat is going to capsize.
After dinner, he sent Su Xiaoming to school first, and then came to the company. Brother Chen.
As soon as Xiao Chen arrived at the entrance of the security department, he saw Dingley coming out.
Well, where are you going? I'm going to the monitoring room. Nothing found yet? Xiao Chen raised his eyebrows.
Dingley shook his head, no. Oh, don't worry, the bait has been put down, and the fish will always take the bait.
Yeah.
After the two chatted for a few words, Xiao Chen came to his office, made a cup of tea, and then turned on the computer. Before he could think about what game to play, there was a knock on the door.
Come in.
The office door opened, and Tong Yen came in from outside.
Minister Xiao. Well. Tong Yen? Why are you here? It's not that you got your salary and you plan to treat me to a meal? Xiao Chen looked at Tong Yen, a little surprised, and said jokingly. I haven't received my salary yet.
Minister Xiao, I came to you to apologize to you. Tong Yen lowered her head, feeling a little apologetic and embarrassed.
Apologize? What to apologize for? Xiao Chen asked curiously. The day before yesterday afternoon, my mother called you and said something she shouldn't have said.
When Tong Yen thought of what her mother said to her after she got home, she wanted to find a crack in the ground to crawl into. She came to find Xiao Chen yesterday, but the latter was not there, so she came again today.
Oh, you mean Auntie's phone call? Nothing. Xiao Chen smiled when he thought of the phone call the day before yesterday afternoon.
Although he was speechless at the time, he forgot about it afterwards.
Well, I've told her not to call you again.
Minister Xiao, please forgive me if it has caused you trouble, I am sorry.
Tong Yen stood in front of the desk and bowed to apologize.
Just as Xiao Chen was about to speak, his eyes fell on the white skin of Tong Yan's neck. Especially the faintly visible ravine inside, which made him secretly swallow his saliva.
It was really tempting.
However, after the last lesson, he was very careful. When Tong Yen just raised her head, he immediately retracted his gaze.
Hee, it's nothing, you don't have to mind. I think Auntie is pretty cute. Xiao Chen really couldn't think of any words, so he just said cute. Thank you, Minister Xiao, I'll go back and get busy.
Tong Yan breathed a sigh of relief when she saw Xiao Chen say that, and felt a little better.
Are you here to see me? Yes. Do you have anything to do when you go back? If not, can we chat? Well, nothing, I'm just a little bored. Sorry, Minister Xiao, I have something to do when I go back. Okay, then you go back to work. Xiao Chen nodded helplessly. The girl said so, what else can he say? He can't force her to stay, right? Okay, Minister Xiao, goodbye. Tong Yan smiled and turned away.
Xiao Chen looked at Tong Yan's back and twisting buttocks, licked the corner of his mouth, and muttered in his heart, is it too long since he had sex, otherwise why would he be so hungry? After playing 2 games in the office, he was too lazy to play. This game is not as fun as people. After turning off the computer, he ran to the gym and continued to train the security guards.
At the same time, this process is also a process of promotion and elimination.
Several security guards were eliminated by him. In his words, if you don't have the ability, it's okay, you can continue to be a security guard. But if you don't have a good character, that's intolerable, just get out. He spent almost the entire morning in the gym, and at the same time, he vented some of his desires on some fitness equipment. In addition, he also fought a battle with several masters, no 1, no 2, and no 3. He was 1 against many. Although he didn't show his full strength, he still had a lot of fun. In the afternoon, Xiao Chun drove Qin Lan's Hummer out of the company and went to the 2nd Municipal Hospital. Today is the day when Li's mother is discharged from the hospital. She could have been discharged in the morning, but Li Shang insisted on doing a full body check or something. Xiao Chen knew what Li Shang was thinking, he just wanted to leave more evidence to witness this miracle. Although he didn't let Li Shang spread it, some things could still be published in the paper, which would definitely cause some shock. Even if it was said that Li's mother was inexplicably cured, it would give more patients with terminal illnesses more confidence to survive, which is also a good thing. So, Xiao Chen didn't stop it, but pretended to know nothing. Brother Chen, you're here.
Li Hanho had packed everything up long ago, waiting for Xiao Chen to come. Well, are you ready?
Xiao Chen nodded, and then greeted Li's mother.
Ah Chen, I've been bothering you recently. Hee, Auntie, why are you being polite to me again?
In the future, don't say the word trouble. Xiao Chen said with a smile.
Okay, I won't say it. Mother Li smiled and nodded.
At this moment, she had changed drastically from her before, both in complexion and spirit. Even many doctors who didn't know the inside story were shocked, and they kept calling it a miracle. If it weren't for Li Shang's pressure, it's estimated that this matter would have been a big deal, and even the media would have to report it. After all, many doctors in the oncology department knew that Li's mother's disease was obviously in the late stage and there was no medicine at all. But now she suddenly recovered so well, how could she not shock everyone? This is not just a miracle, it can even be called a miracle.
Dahan, have you settled all the fees?
Xiao Chen turned his head to look at Li Hanho and asked. Yes, it has been settled.
Dean Li even gave me a discount. Li Hanho nodded and said with a silly smile. What? Discount?
Xiao Chen was a little confused.
How can the hospital give discounts?
Yes, I heard that a lot of fees have been reduced.
Isn't this a discount?
Xiao Chen shook his head helplessly. Sometimes it is really impossible to communicate with this guy. As the 3 were talking, Li Shang came. Brother Xiao, come and pick them up from the hospital. Yes, Brother Li, I'm sorry to bother you these days. Xiao Chen shook hands with Li Shang.
You're welcome.
After returning to Beijing, the teacher called me and asked me to pay more attention to this place.
Otherwise, he would beat me. Li Shang also smiled. Haha, mister. Yao has taken a lot of trouble.
Li Shang looked at Xiao Chun, hesitated, and still didn't give up. Brother Xiao, what I said last time. If it was in front of Yao Chi Huang, Li Shang would never dare to say it again. He knew that no matter how much he argued, he couldn't compete with his teacher. If Xiao Chen really showed some intention of becoming a doctor, it is estimated that with the means of the teacher, he could arrange for him to be the dean.
Brother Li, you'd better not embarrass me. Xiao Chen smiled and refused. Okay, then I won't mention this again in the future. Li Shang was completely giving up. Xiao Chen smiled and looked at Li Shang's face. Brother Xiao, what's wrong? Brother Li, Yao Lao is right, you are a little weak but Yao Lao should have treated you, you are much stronger than before. Xiao Chen said, his smile became a little weird, in some aspects, you have to know how to be restrained. Li Shang was very embarrassed, being said by a young man, his face was really a little hot. But you don't have to worry too much, Yao Lao is treating you. These are all minor problems, just a little restraint will be fine. Ahem, okay. Xiao Chen sent Li Hanhou and Li's mother to Yao Qiwan's villa, and after making some simple arrangements for them, he left. Li's mother was also very satisfied with the villa. It was located next to the Huangjiang River. Standing on the balcony on the second floor, you can see the river and the beautiful scenery around. The most rare thing is that this villa is quiet in the midst of noise, without any hustle and bustle, and is especially suitable for the elderly to live in. After 25 years, I came to the Huangjiang River again. Li's mother stood on the balcony, looking at the cruise ship on the river, with a look of nostalgia on her face, and said with some emotion, Mom, do you like it here? In the yard downstairs, Li Hanhou was looking around, then looked up and shouted to his mother. Haha, I like it. Li's mother looked at her son below, smiled and nodded. Not only did she return to Longhai, but her son seemed to be unable to escape his fate. This is fate? This place has been turbulent for 100 years. If the storm rises again, who will be the master? Will it be the 3 gangs? Or the 7 major families? Mother Li's eyes fell on a landmark building by the river and she narrowed her eyes slowly for some reason. She had an illusion that if the storm did not rise, it would be fine. Once it rose again, Xiao Chen would be there. And her son would be at the center of the storm if he followed him. It would be a blessing or a curse, and it would all depend on themselves. Xiao Chen returned to the company and gave the car keys to Qin Lan. After being teased by the latter for a few more words, he came to the office next door. Has Dahan's mother been discharged from the hospital? Yes, she has been discharged. Tell Dahan that if he has any difficulties, he can tell the company and the company will help him. Xiao Chen smiled and nodded, okay. Wait for me for a while, I will leave work after processing this document. Okay, do you need my help? No. A few minutes later, Su Cheng put down the document and stood up, let's go. Okay. The two went downstairs, drove out of the company and drove towards No. 1 middle school. Xiao Chen, what's wrong? After passing 3 traffic lights, Su Cheng found that Xiao Chen looked at the rearview mirror from time to time and asked in confusion. We are being followed. Xiao Chen stared at the rearview mirror, his voice was very calm, but if you listen carefully, you will find that there is also a suppressed excitement. Finally, is it going to appear? Being followed? Su Cheng was shocked. In fact, from the beginning to now, she didn't care about the person who sent the threatening letter at all. She was more worried about the bug and the shocking secret. But she didn't expect that there would be a stalker now. Was it the person who sent the threatening letter, or the person behind the bug? Yeah. Xiao Chen smiled and comforted, I'm here, don't worry. Su Cheng nodded and looked at the rearview mirror, but there was a lot of traffic behind her and she didn't find anything unusual. It's a black Buick business car. Hearing this, Su Cheng observed carefully. Sure enough, there was a black Buick business car behind 7 or 8 cars. However, she didn't see anything. Is this really a stalker? As if guessing Su Cheng's doubts, Xiao Chen explained, since we left the company, this Buick business car has been following us. And it has always kept a distance of 7 or 8 cars. Is it just on the way? No, I saw this Buick business car when I left the company just now. It was parked on the roadside 200 meters away from the company. As soon as we left, this car followed us. Xiao Chen explained again. In fact, the most important thing is that his intuition told him that he was being followed. Su Cheng was a little surprised. He noticed the car parked 200 meters away? This observation ability is too amazing, right? Sit tight, the other party is speeding up, it seems to be ready to take action. Suddenly, Xiao Chen reminded the surrounding vehicles gradually decreased, and the speed of the Buick business car obviously increased a lot, chasing after the Maserati. Su Cheng looked back again, this time she believed that the other party was really coming for them. Xiao Chen did not speed up, but pretended to know nothing and kept driving at the original speed,
but his eyes were always fixed on the back. But at a turn, two off-road vehicles drove in the opposite direction in front of them, and they were driving very fast, and they hit the Maserati.
Damn it! Xiao Chen looked at the off-road vehicle in front of him and couldn't help cursing.
It seemed that the other party had been watching for a long time, and even knew the route, and had ambushed here long ago. However, why didn't he feel anything before? A sharp brake sound sounded, and Xiao Chen turned the steering wheel, and the rear of the Maserati swung and pushed through the gap between the two off-road vehicles.
Wait for me in the car and lock the car.
Xiao Chen was too lazy to play speed and passion with the other party. Since the other party appeared, he would just subdue him directly. Compared to passive defense, he prefers to take the initiative. Hidden behind the scenes, he couldn't find anyone, and it was okay to wait passively. Now that he appeared, he really couldn't stand it. Be careful, Su Qing said worriedly, holding the armrest. Don't worry. Xiao Chen smiled, opened the car door and got out, then walked towards the two SUVs. Bang bang. The door of the SUV also opened, and a dozen thugs with tattoos jumped out, holding iron rods and baseball bats in their hands. Xiao Chen was stunned when he saw these thugs. What's going on? Shouldn't there be killers or something? Why are they just little hooligans? Who are you? Xiao Chen looked at the thugs and asked coldly. Kill this guy, and then catch the woman in the car. The Buick commercial vehicle also arrived, and another 7 or 8 thugs got off. One of the young men who looked like a leader shouted. Yes. The thugs all raised their weapons and rushed towards Xiao Chen. Xiao Chen was a little disappointed. He said he would make Su Qing look good, but this was it? This was too childish, right? He had waited for so long in vain. Kill. Knock you down first, then ask the people behind the scenes. Xiao Chen threw down a sentence and rushed towards the gangsters. Bang, bang, bang. A burst of punches and kicks sounded, and the gangsters fell one after another, holding their wounds and howling. The leader looked a little dumbfounded. How could this guy be so powerful? Bang. Xiao Chen kicked another gangster's chin and even kicked his body up, and then fell heavily to the ground. In just 1 minute, more than a dozen gangsters fell to the ground, and Xiao Chen walked towards the leader step by step. You, don't come over. The leader's face turned pale and pointed at Xiao Chen and shouted. Tell me, who are you and who sent you? Xiao Chen asked coldly. Don't come over, I have a gun. If you come over again, I will shoot. Suddenly, the leader thought of something, pulled out a Type 54 pistol, pointed at Xiao Chen and shouted. Xiao Chen paused, looking at the black muzzle of the gun in front of him. His eyes were colder. Boy, dare you hurt my brother? Are you still crazy now? If you are crazy again, I will kill you, fuck. The leader saw Xiao Chen stopped, thinking that he was scared, and shouted loudly, since you don't want to say it, then I will use my method to let you say it. After Xiao Chen finished speaking, he walked towards the leader step by step. Stop right there, if you take another step, I will shoot. Damn it, I'm serious, if you take another step. You are looking for death, you can't blame me. The leader held the gun, gritted his teeth, and was about to pull the trigger. But before he could pull the trigger, the figure in front of him flashed, and Xiao Chen disappeared in front of him. The leader was stunned. Where did the person go? Just shoot, why are you dithering and talking so much nonsense? Xiao Chen's voice came from his left side, and at the same time, his right hand pressed on his wrist holding the gun. With a click, the wrist broke and the gun fell to the ground. Ah! The leader screamed and subconsciously wanted to run away. Bang! Xiao Chen kicked him to the ground, stepped on his chest, and leaned down. I'll ask you one last time, who are you? Who asked you to come? If you don't tell me, I promise not to ask again, but I also promise that you won't see the moon tonight. Hearing this, the leader's body trembled and shouted, Don't kill me. I said, I'm from the Flying Eagle Gang. Flying Eagle Gang? Xiao Chen frowned. Could it be that he was coming for him? That's not right. Except for Huang Xing, he has never had a feud with the Flying Eagle Gang again. Who asked you to come? What's your purpose? My boss, Lao He, asked us to come. The purpose is to kidnap Su Qing, the president of Qingqing Company. The leader did not dare to hide anything and told everything he knew. Lao He? Kidnapping Su Qing? Xiao Chen narrowed his eyes. Did he really come for Su Qing? Brother, no, uncle, I've said it all. Please let me go.
let you go? Oh, isn't it too easy?
Xiao Chen sneered, took out his cell phone, and called Feng Guangwen. Hello, Xiao Chen, what's the matter?
Old Feng, I need your help. What?
I met more than a dozen gangsters who want to kidnap President Su.
Can you find someone to arrest them?
Okay, where is it? Feng Guangwen also heard that Su Qing is Su Yunfei's sister and is now under Xiao Chen's protection.
Xiao Chen gave an address and hung up the phone.
If it were another place, on a dark night with strong wind, he wouldn't mind killing these guys. Although they didn't deserve death, they weren't good guys either. And now, in public, with cars passing by from time to time, it's really not suitable for killing people.
Whoever dares to run, I'll blow his head off.
Xiao Chen bent down to pick up the Type 54 pistol and said lightly. None of the gangsters dared to run, and even when they heard Xiao Chen calling the police to catch them, they were relieved. It's obviously better to fall into the hands of the police than into the hands of this guy.
Xiao Chen, what's going on?
Su Qing got off the car and asked. They are all from the Flying Eagle gang, coming for you.
Is it Bald Snake's revenge?
Su Qing was shocked and asked hurriedly.
No, it's a guy called Lao Hei.
Xiao Chen shook his head, but secretly decided in his heart that after sending Su Qing back, he would go and talk to Lao Hei. If the chat is pleasant, then spare his life. If the chat is unpleasant, he.
The police arrived soon, led by an old policeman in his 50s.
The old policeman looked at the situation at the scene and took a breath of cold air. He knocked over more than a dozen gangsters by himself.
What a strong fighting power. Mr. Xiao, right? My last name is Duan. Captain Feng asked me to come.
The old policeman came to Xiao Chen and said politely.
Well, hello.
Xiao Chen shook hands with the old policeman. These people are handed over to you.
No problem, Captain Feng has explained it. The old policeman nodded happily. And this gun is also theirs.
Xiao Chen took out a Type 54 pistol and handed it to the old policeman. The old policeman took it and knew that there were bullets in the gun as soon as he got his hands on it. It was a real thing that could kill people as long as the trigger was pulled. He was shocked. He was still dealt with when the gangsters were holding guns? The people Captain Feng knew were really not ordinary people. Catch them all and take them back. The old policeman thought about it and shouted to the 7 or 8 policemen under him. Yes. The gangsters were all handcuffed and put in the police car.
Mr.
Xiao, we'll leave first. If you have any questions, just contact Captain Feng. The old policeman glanced at Su Qing standing next to the Maserati, and didn't dare to ask them to cooperate and go back to make a statement. Okay, thank you for your help. The police whistled away, and drove away 2 SUVs and a Buick business car. Su Qing, let's go home. Xiao Chen looked at the police car getting farther and farther away, squinted his eyes, and then turned to walk towards the Maserati.
Do you know the police?
Su Qing was a little curious, because this matter was not small, and guns were used. At least they had to go to the police station to make a statement or something. But now, the police only took these gangsters away, and didn't ask any other questions, which was a bit unusual. Well, a friend of mine works in the municipal bureau. I drank with him last night. I didn't expect that I would have to ask him for help today. Xiao Chen smiled, started the car, and drove towards the direction of the No. 1 middle school. Oh, why are these people coming to me? I don't know the old black man I told you about, and I haven't even heard of this person. Who knows? Maybe the guy who sent you the threatening letter bribed the old black man with money to let him take action on his behalf. Some gangsters still like to do this kind of thing. What should I do next? Leave it to me, I will take care of it, don't worry. Do I need to go to the police station to file a report? No, we just have to wait. Xiao Chen shook his head. Although he said so, he didn't think so. Wait? He will go to talk to the old black man tonight to see what's going on. Su Qing has no experience in this kind of thing, and her usual shrewdness and strength can't be used. She can only rely on Xiao Chen as the backbone. Oh, it would be nice if my brother came back. I hope it's just a simple threatening letter, nothing to do with the big secret. Su Qing looked at the traffic outside the window, her expression was a little dazed for a while. Xiao Chen glanced at Su Qing, thinking that she was just frightened, so he didn't bother her, speeded up, and came to the No 1 middle school in the city. Sister, what's wrong with you? Why do you look so bad? Su Xiaoming noticed something was wrong as soon as she got in the car, and asked while holding her sister's hand.
Nothing, maybe you're too tired.
Su Qing forced a smile and shook her head.
Oh, then give yourself a few days off?
Why so tired?
Su Xiaoming said with some heartache.
Recently, there are a lot of things in the company, where is the time to rest? Wait until this period is over.
Okay, I can't help you much.
Silly girl, as long as you are well and happy, you are helping your sister. Su Qing stroked her little sister's hair and said lovingly. Back at the villa, Xiao Chen took the initiative to go into the kitchen to cook, and asked Su Qing to go back to her room to rest for a while.
Brother Chen, what happened?
Su Xiaoming came to the kitchen and looked at Xiao Chen and asked nothing.
Do you think I'm a child? Don't lie to me. Well, I didn't lie to you.
Didn't your sister tell you that she was just a little tired?
Don't come on, my sister just treats me like a child.
I just cooperate with her, so I don't ask too much.
Do you think I'm really a child? Su Xiaoming said unhappily.
Xiao Chen had no choice but to hesitate for a moment, and simply told Su Xiaoming the matter.
What? You want to kidnap my sister?
Damn bastard.
After listening, Su Xiaoming widened her eyes and said angrily. Keep your voice down.
You're afraid your sister can't hear you, right? If she knows I told you, she'll blame me again.
What about those bastards?
I called a friend in the police station and arrested them all.
These guys got it easy. It's not that easy.
For kidnapping with a gun, they'll have to stay in prison for at least a few years. The old black man of the Flying Eagle gang is the leader of the Black Eagle Hall. He has the same status as Huang Xing of the Falcon Hall, and he's a gangster.
He's targeting my sister, what should I do?
After the anger, Su Xiaoming began to worry again. Although she was very powerful in school, she was just a student after all, and the Flying Eagle gang was undoubtedly a behemoth in her eyes.
Gangster? Xiaoming, don't worry, leave it to me.
You?
Su Xiaoming looked at Xiao Chen with suspicion.
You?
Su Xiaoming looked at Xiao Chen with suspicion.
Of course, have you forgotten how polite Bald Snake was to me? In fact, his boss Huang Xing was also polite to me.
Really?
If it were normal times, Su Xiaoming would definitely sneer at him. Why don't you say you are the underground godfather? However, now that it concerns her sister's safety, she is a little worried. Of course it's true. After dinner, I'll go meet a friend and deal with this matter.
Don't worry.
Oh. Come on, smile for me, don't be sad, your sister will see it and she will ask more questions.
Brother Chen, I don't want my sister to get into trouble.
Well, I'm here, nothing will happen. I promised your brother that I would protect you two sisters.
Oh, didn't I promise you too?
You should believe me. Su Xiaoming looked at Xiao Chen, pursed her lips, and squeezed out a smile. I believe you.
You go watch TV, I'll cook first.
I'll help you?
No, you should go see your appa.
Xiao Chen said with a smile.
Su Xiaoming nodded and left the kitchen.
Xiao Chen looked at Su Xiaoming's back, and the smile on his face disappeared. Although this girl has a perverse personality, she actually hides a lot of things in her heart. Half an hour later, Su Qing came down from the stairs, and her face had improved a lot.
Let's get ready for dinner.
Well, thank you for your hard work, Xiao Chen.
Su Qing looked at Xiao Chen with some gratitude.
He was just asked by her elder brother to protect them, but now he is also a bodyguard and a nanny. It's nothing. Your elder brother and I are as close as brothers, and you are also my family. Xiao Chen said with a smile. The three of them sat around the dining table and began to enjoy dinner.
In front of Su Qing, Su Xiaoming did not show any abnormality.
She was still talking about interesting things at school and making her sister happy as usual. Next to her, Xiao Chen's eyes flashed with a trace of relief and touching. Both Su Qing and Su Xiaoming were loving each other in their own way. After dinner, Xiao Chen said hello and drove away from the villa. An hour later, he came to an ecological resort in Nanchang. This is what he learned from the leader. Lao He basically stayed here to entertain guests these 2 days and rarely left. So, he came to see if Lao He was here. If he was not, he would call Huang Xing and make a deal with him. After entering the ecological resort, Xiao Chen drove inside as the leader said, and soon rows of villas appeared in sight. No.
77.
A few minutes later, Xiao Chun found Villa No.
77.
It was said that this was where Lao He kept a mistress, but recently it was used to entertain several distinguished guests. What kind of distinguished guests, Xiao Chun didn't know, and he didn't want to know. He came here just to give Lao He two choices, either life or death. Xiao Chun didn't drive the car close, but parked in a parking lot not far away, then got out of the car, holding a cigarette, and walked towards Villa No.
77. In front of Villa No.
77, 4 or 5 young men were standing and chatting casually. However, whenever someone passed by, they would look a few times, with vigilance flashing in their eyes. Xiao Chun smiled when he saw this scene.
Lao He should be here, otherwise these gangsters wouldn't be guarding here.
He didn't go straight to the main gate, but turned and walked to the back of the villa.
It's better to be low-key when killing people. As the leader of the Black Eagle Hall of the Flying Eagle Gang, Lao He's status in the underworld is equal to Huang Xing, so Xiao Chun has no doubt that these gangsters are carrying firearms. After Xiao Chun arrived at the villa, he looked around for a few times. After confirming that there was no one, he jumped up, climbed on the wall with both hands, took a breath, and turned over without making any sound. In the villa, there were faint laughter and screams, which made Xiao Chun frown. What was going on inside?
Xiao Chun looked outside and saw 5 or 6 gangsters standing in the yard. They stretched their heads to look into the villa from time to time, as if there was something exciting. Xiao Chun came to the back window quietly and pricked up his ears to listen.
Ah. Woo, don't.
In the living room of the villa, 4 men were sitting on the sofa, their eyes flashing with excitement. 2 girls were tied up on the carpet. They were about 11 or 12 years old. They were struggling and trembling. Next to them, there was a skinny young man who was holding a scalpel and tearing off the shirt of one of the girls. Don't hide.
I have applied anesthetic, it won't hurt. Gaga.
As soon as he finished speaking, the scalpel in his hand cut the skin on the girl's chest, and blood splashed out.
Ah.
The girl screamed, but her limbs were tied, and she couldn't hide even if she wanted to. Seeing the girl's miserable state, the young man became more excited. He stretched out his tongue and licked the blood on the scalpel, looking very happy. Hey, this guy skeleton is getting more and more perverted. On the sofa, a middle-aged man grinned and said, Skeleton, play slowly, I have already given the order, and 2 more young teeth will be sent tomorrow morning. Next to him, a black-faced man was playing with a long string of Bodhi beads and said with a smile. When the skeleton heard the black-faced man's words, his face became more excited. Brother Hey, is it this kind of stuff? Of course, it will only get better, not worse. The black-faced man smiled and nodded, but he felt a little sorry in his heart that such a good young tooth would be ruined by this pervert.
Hee, then I will thank Brother Hey first.
The skeleton said, and the scalpel in his hand cut the girl's skin again. The girl screamed and struggled hard, with fear and pleading written all over her face, but none of the men present showed sympathy, but they were all very excited. Although they all thought that the skeleton was quite perverted, it did not affect their appreciation of the cruel show in front of them. Next to her, another girl's face was pale and her body was shaking. She regretted it so much. If she hadn't been acting like a spoiled child and ran away from home alone, how could she have been caught here by them?
I like to see them in panic and helplessness, especially this blood. It's so delicious. Do you want to taste it?
The skeleton leaned over and licked the girl's bleeding wound with his tongue, his face full of enjoyment. Several men laughed and shook their heads. This guy is definitely perverted.
Old Black, you can't just satisfy this guy, right? What activities do we have tonight? You can't just sit here and watch this guy perverted, right?
A middle-aged man with a cigar in his mouth, puffing.
Of course not. I have asked the people below to find young models. Tonight everyone has 2 young models, and we must have a blast.
The black-faced man grinned and said loudly.
Ha, good. The other men all laughed, and they were going to have fun tonight. I'm almost done.
I'll eat this first and then I'll deal with this girl when I come back. The skeleton cut 2 more bloody wounds on the girl, then picked her up by the waist. You can't snatch this girl from me.
Okay, no one's going to snatch it from you. We're not interested in young girls.
Several men shook their heads and glanced at the skeleton's arms. The little girl wouldn't live for more than 30 minutes. Although it looks cruel to cut the body with a scalpel, the real cruelty has not yet begun. Wait a minute, the skeleton will torture this woman with methods that are 10 times or 100 times more cruel, until she
dies.
Forget it, I'll take this girl to the room. I want her to see it with her own eyes.
It will feel even better. The skeleton seemed a little worried. He held the girl in his arms with one hand, and then picked up the girl on the ground with the other hand. Although he was a little too thin, he was quite strong. He easily lifted the girl and walked out with a grin. The girl was trembling with fear, her mouth sealed with tape made a mumble sound, and her body struggled violently, but it was useless. Stop struggling, girl, it's useless. Don't say you are tied up, even if you are not tied up, you can't escape, ha ha ha. G.A. As soon as the skeleton stepped onto the stairs, he saw a black shadow in front of him, and his throat was in great pain, and his laughter stopped abruptly. Then, he let go of the girl's hand and subconsciously covered his neck. Blood gushed out along the gap. Don't you want to have fun? Now, is it exciting enough? A cold voice sounded in his ears, and another cold light flashed, and a dagger pierced his chest. Ah! The skeleton screamed and rolled down the stairs, even breaking the stair railing. Several men in the living room downstairs heard the noise and subconsciously looked up. When they saw the skeleton falling from the stairs, they all stood up. There are enemies. The black-faced man reacted the fastest and yelled. You all must die tonight. Xiao Chen stood on the stairs, looking down at the men in the living room, full of murderous intent. Originally, he wanted to solve them one by one secretly. After all, there were still gunmen outside. Once they attracted his attention, it might be a fierce battle. But after seeing the scene just now, he really couldn't bear it. These beasts must die. Skeleton. Someone quickly came to the side of the skeleton and pushed him. The latter stared with bulging eyes and had no life. Dead? The man was shocked. A second-rate peak master was killed by one blow? What, dead? The faces of the other people also changed drastically. How could this be possible? Even if he was caught off guard, he shouldn't have been killed in one go, right? Could it be? All the men stared at Xiao Chen. Is this guy a master? If you want to kill a second-rate peak in seconds, you must at least be a first-rate peak. Xiao Chen ignored the gazes of several men, helped the two girls up, and then cut the ropes on them, saying in a gentle tone, Go upstairs and wait, I won't let you come down, don't come down. You, who are you? Asked the uninjured girl. Me? Haha, a person who sees injustice on the road. Xiao Chen smiled and touched the girl's hair. Please help take care of her. I will. The girl nodded vigorously, with tears still clear in the corners of her eyes, but her heart was a little more at ease. She believed that the big brother in front of her would definitely save them. Go! After Xiao Chen finished speaking, the smile on his face disappeared, and he walked downstairs step by step. Boy, who are you? The black-faced man held the Bodhi Buddha beads and roared angrily. Are you Lao Hei? Xiao Chen looked at the black-faced man and asked coldly. That's right. Since you know my identity, you still dare to come here and act arrogantly? Don't you want to live? As soon as Lao Hei finished speaking, more than a dozen gangsters outside rushed in. Brother Hei, what happened? Damn it, chop this kid into pieces and feed him to the dogs. Lao Hei pointed at Xiao Chen with a ferocious look. Yes. The gangsters rushed towards Xiao Chen with machetes in their hands and roared. Bang bang. Xiao Chen jumped down the stairs and kicked out with his right leg quickly. The two gangsters who rushed in front were kicked out by him, spitting blood and falling to the ground. Although Xiao Chen did not use his full strength, he was also rushing to kill people. What these guys did had trampled on his bottom line. So, everyone in this villa tonight must die. The sternums of the two gangsters were all sunken in, and the bones penetrated their hearts. After a few twitches in their bodies, they were dead. This is a tricky trick. The men around Lao Hei looked at Xiao Chen's actions and their faces changed again. He was definitely a top-notch strength. Bang, bang, bang. A series of muffled sounds were heard, and the gangsters all fell to the ground in all directions. Unlike usual, falling down means death. Lao Hei's face changed drastically. How could this guy be so powerful? Friend, isn't he too cruel? A man stepped forward and spoke coldly. Cruel? Ha, why didn't you feel cruel when you watched that pervert torture that little girl? As Xiao Chen spoke, his murderous aura became stronger. Do you think that you can control the whole scene with your top-notch strength? After the man finished speaking, his momentum suddenly changed and became magnificent. Immediately afterwards, the momentum of the other men also changed, and the atmosphere in the living room suddenly became tense and depressing.
Xiao Chen narrowed his eyes, a little surprised. 1 top tier, 1 first tier, 2 second tier.
With this combination, can they sweep a gang?
Then, he thought of the internal strife of the Flying Eagle gang, and understood.
These should be the helpers invited by Lao He. No wonder Huang Xing couldn't wait to recruit him that day. It seems that the other 3 major gangs are also under great pressure. Hearing the man's words, Lao He's face changed again. This young man is a top tier? How is this possible? Who are you? Who sent you? Lao He stared at Xiao Chen and asked with gritted teeth. He thought of a possibility that made him afraid. Wait until I killed him, then talk to you.
Xiao Chen's eyes swept over Lao He, and he said a very domineering word, then he shook his body and pounced on the top tier man. Kill. The man also let out a long roar, joined forces with a first tier master and 2 second tier masters, and killed them.
Bang bang bang.
Xiao Chen fought 1 against 4, and was not at a disadvantage at all. He was even more determined and murderous. The 4 masters were more and more frightened as the battle went on. They originally thought that even if this guy was at the top of the first rate, he would not be able to hold out for long under their siege. But now 3 minutes have passed, and Xiao Chen is not only not at a disadvantage, but is suppressing them and controlling the battlefield.
Bang! During the battle, a second-rate master could not keep up with the rhythm and was exposed. Die!
Xiao Chen's cold voice sounded, and he punched out, hitting the second-rate master's heart hard.
Bang!
The power of a thunderstorm exploded in the heart of this second-rate master, breaking his bones inch by inch, and even his heart was blown up. A mouthful of blood mixed with pieces of meat spurted out of the mouth of this second-rate master, startling the other 3 masters and slowing down their movements.
Die! Xiao Chen uttered another word, and the second-rate master was blown up in the head by his punch. Blood was sprayed all over the sky, bloody. The remaining 2 masters all felt a chill in their bones. This guy was too cruel, right? Die! Xiao Chen's eyes fell on the first-rate master, who trembled and retreated violently. Do you think you can get away?
The cold voice was not mixed with a trace of human emotion. If you look closely, you will find that Xiao Chen's pupils have turned dark red, which is a bit weird. As Xiao Chen finished speaking, the first-rate master who had already rushed out 5 or 6 steps trembled and suddenly fell to the ground, his face full of pain and unwillingness. Life, death. This scene made Lao He and the remaining top-level masters widen their eyes. They didn't see Xiao Chen do anything, so how could he die? You, too, must die. Xiao Chen turned his head and looked at the top-level man. You, who are you? Just now, the man who thought he could easily kill Xiao Chen felt cold all over. This man was not a top-notch martial artist, but a martial arts master, and even surpassed a martial arts master.